Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go to the last week of the season.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
I wanted to have my little picture in the Globe as a columnist.
There's no doubt about it that if Tom Brady did not exist, I don't know if I would be covering football.
I wanted to go into publishing. I like putting things together, like products.
Yeah.
I love the origin stories.
You guys ever in the press box when guys would smoke in the press box?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
I would say that, on the whole, these guys are in better shape than they used to be.
As you know, I'm sexy. I want the sexiest player. I mean, let's face it.
Holy bad take city from Deuce and Alex about keeping
holy
Bill.
bad take city.
Do you listen and you just make it up? You state the case of we talked about it. What are you writing right now? You said that you're gonna tell me that I go to the show yesterday, pull it up, give me the time code,
Bring the
tell me-
receipts.
Evan was the one who laid out how hard it's gonna be for Robert Kraft to make that decision.
Oh, now he's pointing fingers
but
at
I'm
me.
saying
I'm going to give it to the Chiefs both ways.
How are you?
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Even I, every once in a while, let one go.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's Jets week, for whatever that's worth. I think it's
Wearing
worth a
over
lot. It's worth a lot. What?
What are you wearing?
Sweater. I'm cold.
I'm going to pull a Fred. I don't care for it.
It's like a Fred McMurray.
I will.
Yes.
I will say, out of all of Fred's fall fits, which I guess it's winter now, so I can't use
Fall
that.
fits.
This isn't my favorite.
Whoa. This is a Holbrook.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't expensive. It's yours, so I know
You don't like this?
you
No.
paid top dollar.
I like
This
it.
is last on my Fred's.
I like
fits
zip
list.
ups. I don't like 3/4 zips. Things you have to pull over your head.
Crew necks are elite.
You wear what you want to wear, Fred. Don't
Thank
listen
you.
to them.
I'm gonna just do me.
This is
Did you ever hear
also.
what he did?
Well done.
Wait. This is also.
Did you ever hear what he
someone-
does to me?
Wait.
What?
I'm going to get him back.
Don't listen to Evan, because this is also someone who's had multiple people come up to him and say you wear the same quarter zip every single week.
Okay, first of all, we see each other a lot here. Okay, I only have so much clothes. All these people come
Fair
up,
enough.
come up to me and are
Everyone
like,
doesn't have time for clothes. You just got to watch film.
I have this expansive wardrobe, I'm Kim Kardashian, and I got a warehouse for my clothes.
I wear a lot of the same things.
Evan did get a new fancy
Jeez.
coat though.
Did he?
Oh, did you
did.
get a new
People
fancy
know way too much about my
fancy
clothes.
coat?
Don't you feel like after you get stuff for the holidays, though, you have to kind of soft launch your new clothes?
Yeah,
You feel a little-
you can't wear it that day.
You
You
don't
feel a
wear
little
it right
self-con-
away.
You don't want to walk in a
Because
full
you-
new outfit. and
especially
everyone's
with
like,
Fred.
okay.
Somebody got something for
Right,
Christmas.
especially Fred.
Nah, this-
He will not let it pass.
Especially
this-
this place.
Yeah.
Is that a nice,
No,
nice little
this-
Christmas quarter?
I got a pair of black jeans, which are just you get new jeans and black jeans. They're way too black, and it's really bugging me. But everywhere I walk around, I feel self-conscious because everyone knows. Oh, did you get those for Christmas? They look great.
You look fantastic. I have to ask, who are you wearing?
Yeah. All right.
Tommy Bahama.
It's kind of a big week for so many reasons. One, we're playing the Jets, and there's a streak
Yeah.
on the line here.
Right.
Going streaking.
16 in a row wins against the Jets on the line. Got to keep that up. Last game of the season.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know.
it is what it is. Could it be
Possibly.
Bill Belichick's last game as
Last
a
game
Patriot
of an
head
era.
coach? We don't know. But all eyes will be on that. And to top it off, there's a possibility of a major snowstorm Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Tamara. Every time I brought up snow, Tamara's like, no,
So-
stop.
I hadn't heard major.
I'm actually allergic to snow.
Okay.
My-
So that means you're allergic to
No.
water.
My mom, my grandparents said that when I was little, whenever it snowed, because I was born in New York, I don't know if I told you that, but so whenever it snowed in New York, which is all the time, they always had to carry me. I refused to step in it. And I'm like, that tracks, because I actually hate it. I
That
still hate
tracks.
it.
That's track.
Okay, so you're not actually allergic.
Allergic.
I am.
So we're
I
gonna
can't
strap
touch
you
it.
into a baby
Well,
born,
that's a
and we'll
phobia.
carry you in.
I can't
That's
touch
not
it.
an allergy. That's a phobia.
I just hate it. I can't.
She just can't even.
I hear you, but
It's going to make that commute a
it might
little
snow.
sketchy.
They don't know what's going on yet, whether it's going to be a mix or heavy, but it could be anything from a wintry mix to a major blizzard. according to the news.
I need an igloo.
We all
Ooh.
staying at the hotel at Patriot Place, Fred?
Oh.
No, you'll leave your house at 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
No, I got a spot. Anybody wants to crash at
I
Chez
know.
Deuce?
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about that. Might put dibs
I mean,
on
for
that.
those of you who have to get up early, I don't know. It's supposed to be like morning Sunday and then trickle off during the day. So I think the Sunday night commute will be fine. It's just getting to the stadium that you better leave early.
I hope it doesn't like ruin the atmosphere. That would be, I
Well, I think it
more
would-
because I'm just curious what the atmosphere is actually
Don't
going
you
to be.
think it would add
like,
to the atmosphere?
Well, maybe if it's the right amount of snow, but if it's too
Yeah.
much, then I feel like people are just going to be kind of
Yeah.
bundled up and miserable.
I'm with Fred. I think it might help the atmosphere
Yeah.
because I'm not sure what that's going to be like on Sunday.
Yeah.
Under
Yeah.
normal.
Well, you don't want to give people
conditions.
snowballs in this game. They might be
Ooh.
firing
Well,
at
just
people.
there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on for a meaningless Week 18 game.
For
Yeah.
both teams. Meaningless for both teams.
Yeah.
Well, it's not meaningless, but
Yeah.
I mean the reverse of meaning.
meaningful.
So, before, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was going to
Oh.
move the page to talking about what had transpired on Sunday. So
Oh,
if
no,
you-
yeah. No, mine is not about Sunday. It's about the Jets. So
Yeah.
don't wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll hold that thought. All right. So before we get into Jets Week, we have to kind of go back and look at what happened Sunday.
Yeah.
People calling it another example of this team playing hard to the finish.
Do we have to talk about it? It's a new year. We have to leave the past in the past.
I know, but
It's 2024.
I think the game was remarkable, not in an outstanding sense, but just it's worth making
Yeah.
remarks about.
Yeah, I don't really care about the playing hard stuff. I think to me it was just another game of the 2023 Patriots that just kind of told you, like, look, it's not Mac or Zappy. Like, this whole thing is screwed up right now, and this offense especially, like, there isn't like a player that was going to fix this. This was a problem top to bottom, and even though Zappy made some plays, like, again, it's the same thing. You can't hold protection. You don't have enough guys that can catch the ball and make big plays. So in that sense, I just liked it was like reassuring, like, yep, this is what the team was. We know what we have to do to change
right.
it.
This wasn't, and that's the thing. I know a lot of people want to say, oh, they're so close this year. If this didn't happen, if that happened, they'd be right in it. But
Well, like
that's
Zappy after the game.
But that's the case for most teams that aren't good in the NFL. It is a matter of this or that, but that's what separates the good teams from the bad teams in the NFL. And like you said, Mike, the fact that this has been a recurring issue tells us that we can be confident in our evaluation that this is who they are.
Well, I would say, too, though, like, the good teams and even some of the bad teams have had times this season where they're blowing doors off of people or it's all clicking and, wow, they got the defense on the run. Like, the things that we point to with this Patriots team is, like, they almost held on. Like, that's what the consolation. I get that the games are always close, but, like, even some of the bad teams this year have shown more of, like, a potential on offense to actually move the ball. And, how many times this year did you ever feel like, wow, the Patriots offense really got this team on the run right now? Like, it was always just hanging on by the skin of your teeth and
Late
like your
second
fingernails.
quarter of the
and-
Eagles game.
There you go. Hey, there was like a drive that was
That's all
pretty
I
good.
got. No, 2.
And that's it.
Back
The
to back.
Eagles. But that's, to me, it's just you never saw that. Even a couple years ago, you'd see, they'd come in with a Jacksonville team that had nobody and like, oh my God, like look at the explosion.
Yeah.
Not even those things mattered this year. They lost to the Giants. They lost to the Colts. They lost to the teams that were undermanned and had a backup
A
quarterback.
team like the Cowboys, that's an inconsistently good team. They have these great games, and then they have these games that they lose, they shouldn't lose, or hang on. The Patriots are consistent, but it's in a bad way.
Yeah.
They're consistently bad, and they make the same mistakes week after week that keep them from winning.
And I will say they got lucky that the Bills were very off on offense as well. Like Josh Allen was just not his usual. Otherwise, they could have got blown out with all those interceptions. Like they're lucky that the
I
Bills
give the
didn't
Patriots defense
capitalize
some credit
on
to that. During the game, a lot of people, oh, good thing Josh Allen's having a terrible game. But I give the defense some credit, into making that happen.
Those receivers did drop a lot of passes.
Yeah,
though.
I would say that.
there was
I would say, but to echo what Mike is saying, that it was a microcosm of the season because they just can't move the ball. And turnovers aside, I know everybody fixates on the turnovers. Turnovers aside, they don't move the ball. When they hold on to it, they don't move it. Now, the one slight difference with Zappy is the thing we talk about all the time. He moves around better than Mac did, and occasionally they make a chunk play.
Right.
And when they get that chunk play, they're able to score on a drive. Twice. Like, that's what happened. They got 2 chunk plays, a 50-yard screen and a 40-yard pass to Rager, and they scored on those 2 drives. Otherwise, they can't move the ball.
Yeah.
No matter who the quarterback is. Defensively, general terms, they will play at a level that's good enough for you to compete if you have offense.
Yep.
They have no offense.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Fred. I thought, yes, Josh Allen was terrible in that game. Yes, the Bills receivers dropped a bunch of passes. But a lot of that, I do think, was due to the Patriots' defense.
Yeah.
I think they played well.
They
now,
also didn't only drop
short passes,
the
not
passes,
any big plays.
You have to the context of the drops are important because they dropped a pass. Sherfield dropped a pass on the little return route that Alex Austin would have tackled him 6 yards short of
That's
the
what I
sticks.
said, short passes.
Right, and then so really the only pass that they dropped that was a huge factor is Latavius Murray dropped one past the sticks. That was wide open. That would have been a first down. The other plays, Zappy's a roller coaster. His film is an absolute roller coaster. You're either going all the way down or you're going all the way up, and there's no in between. And it's kind of crazy to watch it. Out of the gate, I had him with 5 negative plays in a row.
Oh, you did. PFF had none.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Turnover
Did you see that?
Turnover worthy plays.
No.
They had him for no turnover-worthy plays. He threw 3 interceptions.
That's wild.
We can get to
2
that.
of them were his fault for sure.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster. Paul, you said it perfectly. They get a couple big plays. I thought he made a really good throw to Parker on a crossing route. The scramble that he, 17-yard touchdown on a scramble, nice play. The Rager bomb, nice play. Those are nice.
The Rager bomb.
Yeah, I coined that.
I like that.
I like that. I like that.
I told
Right?
Neil, I was like, you missed an opportunity here, Neil.
That is.
Yeah. Anyways, so
You're right.
but I do want to give the defense flowers though, because I really feel like that defensively, the fact that they have Alex Austin and Sean Wade playing significant snaps at corner, and they are 9th in DVOA in the NFL right now. The fact that they've held on defensively like that is
Now,
remarkable.
you have to put context into there. I want to be fair. Teams don't have to, go crazy. So
Yeah, but I don't feel like the Bills play that way. The Bills are pedal to the metal. If the Bills could have scored 50 points on the Patriots on Sunday, I think they would have.
Yeah, I would say yes and no, but I think on this game, I think the Patriots play I've been sometimes I push back on you guys. I thought this game they did stuff that bothered the Bills' offense.
Yeah.
I think
and Josh Allen in particular.
And
They have a formula against Josh Allen. I
well,
think they've
maybe it's the first time that I've ever seen him really get slowed down by the Patriots.
Well, I think they did it in Week 7 too.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that was more. I mean, they still scored 25 points, and that wasn't turnover related.
Yeah, but I just think that
one.
they won their fair share of rounds against Josh Allen in Week 7 too.
I mean, that's all you're looking for is a few stops in a game against a team like that to give yourself a shot.
Yeah, I think they've closed the gap.
A lot of
against
teams
him.
can't
There's
do
no doubt
that.
about it.
A lot of teams can't do that.
My wonder though was, and I mean this may be a question for discussion, was
This
are the
year,
Bills
a lot of teams have.
Are the Bills getting stale? And are the Patriots? They're smart. When they had Dable, who maybe could stay one step ahead of the curve. Are they kind of just going to the well too many times? It seemed like a lot of these plays, the Patriots were understanding the concepts and able to drop off and make plays. So
100%. And that's exactly what the players said after the game was our assistant coaches deserve all the credit. We knew their plays, we knew their formations, we knew
I
what
want
they
to
were
get
going to
into
do.
that a little bit.
And they were really well prepared. I mean, Alex Austin saw that play on film to Dalton Kincaid and jumped the wheel route and picked it off. I mean, those are plays that they practiced during the week that he was prepared for.
I would say that, I've been saying, and I think we all have all season long, that the defense has been well coached. But it's the first time I've heard the players call out the assistant coaches for the game plan. And, it could be just unique that they specifically really had the number on Josh Allen. Or could these players be thinking the same thing everyone else is like, this is the end of the line for a lot of people here, including these assistant coaches. Let's do a shout out to them because they could be looking for jobs.
It's possible.
I don't want to get that deep.
Okay.
It's possible. I just looked at it and thought that they just felt like those guys have been coaching their butts off all season.
And that's what it even
deserve
looked
some
like on TV.
accolades.
I just felt like I said, I've been willing to say that I thought they got kind of like I don't think they did anything to stop Kansas City. And Kansas City hasn't been able to move the ball and score points against anybody. But this game, I do think that they were responsible for keeping the Bills in check. Now, it has been a very sporadic offense all year. It's been And I think that Joe Brady has made a big difference for them. But you didn't see that on Sunday. And that offense has been better since they made the switch, but it wasn't better on Sunday, and they benefited, obviously, from short fields. They had 4 turnovers. They scored 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals off of them.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the game. And, the rest of it I kind of agree with Mike with, we talked a lot in the post game, the competitiveness and the playing hard stuff, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same game that I've seen all year long.
The Cardinals are playing hard. Everybody's playing hard.
But it's the same game. I don't know how close the game was. In other words, now we'll never know what would have happened if they didn't turn it over 4 times on the first 4 possessions, 5 possessions. We won't know. But the fact of the matter is that's what they do, and the game was kind of over.
That's who they are.
Like when you go into the fourth quarter down 2 scores consistently, you're not going to win. And a lot of their 1-score losses are games that they trailed by 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to win those games.
But you have to admit, when Rager returned that kickoff, you're like, okay,
we were just laughing.
I was laughing. I mean,
we were laughing.
The comparison of last year's finale in there. I mean, that was crazy. And then of course Bailey Zappi follows that up with 2 weeks in a row of turnover on the very first play.
Yeah, from the press box angle, you could see the whole open for Jalen Reagor, and I'm sitting there like, oh, he's got a chance here, and then he ends up going.
How about the kicker?
Yeah,
did you see that? Like the next gen stats?
He hit like 20 miles an hour.
Taylor Bass.
Yeah.
It's
because he's only got one eye black on.
But they
annoys me.
They return the kick, then I think they go 3 and out, right?
Yeah.
And you think, okay, here we go.
He got strip sacked on the first play.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Just you gotta stay like
Dak. I really think that this defense, with a lot of people that you weren't expecting to play, like Alex Austin's a mid-season acquisition. Like you signed him off of somebody's waiver wire.
I want a quick question for you. This is a total aside.
Yeah.
Do you remember me saying that he's not an NFL player?
Yeah.
I did?
No.
Oh. Because I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know anything about Alex Austin.
Are you getting killed by somebody?
No, well, Mike,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Mike Reese had like a tweet after his pick, which, by the way, was a terrific play. And Evan's right.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't just like a routine. They threw the ball to him. It was like Jalen Ramsey's play, and Bill compared it to that in Miami. But he had the thing, and then some guy tweets and says, PFW Paul says he's not an NFL player. I'm like, I don't even know who Alex Austin. Like, when they got him, he was a 7th-round pick for Buffalo. I'm sorry, I don't know the draft 7 rounds deep. I don't pretend to. And I was not familiar with Alex Austin before he became a Patriot. So I don't know if I ever called him like not an NFL player.
I would tend to think that you did because you called most of the Patriots non-NFL players.
I might call him a Jag or something like that, but like not belonging in the NFL and a guy I've never heard of?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've thought
like I have to see you play. Like Trent Brown doesn't belong in the NFL right now.
It could have been part of a
That's
snarky
different.
response.
Yeah, but I don't. It doesn't sound like me.
Anyway,
I've been.
It's remarkable.
Yes, because you remark on it,
right?
Like I don't know what the right word is because I'm not trying to hype him up like he's prime Stephon Gilmore, but I've been intrigued by Alex Austin. I think that he moves really well on film.
Sounds like he's coachable anyway.
Yeah. He moves like an NFL cornerback. He's got speed, he's got length, he's got change of direction. He just has to, he's got mental errors. He's a rookie. He has 1 or 2 brain farts a game where he's not in the right coverage or he's not in the right spot. And the big deep post to Diggs was I think on him that there was no post safety on that play. But like those are things that you think with time and with seasoning like he could iron out and maybe he can be a 3rd corner.
Is that the one Jonathan Jones?
It was like looking
immediately
around.
looked.
Yeah.
And we said, "Oh yeah. There you go." It looks like someone was looking for a little help on that.
Yeah.
Nobody calls out teammates more like secondary players.
Corners.
No, that's what you got to do, right?
You gotta
Corners,
have the help.
corners, and wideouts.
It's like it was a post cross and. Jalen Mills was the post safety originally. He jumped the crossing route, which means Alex Austin should be replacing him on the post. Now, if it's a long way to go. Like, I don't know if it would have been a big factor anyways, but that was, I think, what the rotation was supposed to be. And Jonathan Jones did the old daggers right at Alex Austin after that play. So
now, that was an example of a play that Josh Allen being off.
Yeah,
because that was a touchdown.
I just didn't know why Mills jumped the crossers. It felt like Mapu had. I think it was.
Mapu had
decent
coverage there. Yeah, I don't know. I also thought that Kyle Duggar's the 51-yarder to Kincaid, like, Steve, like, come back to us, please. Like,
Yeah.
we're calling cover 0 on the 36-yard line on 1st and 10.
Yeah.
Like, what that? Like, I get we all, Duggar has his issues in coverage. Like, we all can see that. But that was just a horrible call.
Yeah, I was wondering like why he ended up where he was, Duggar. Yeah.
He was in man coverage on Kincaid, and there was no deep help, and they blitzed the house on 1st and 10.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do that.
Well, if it works, you're like, oh, look at
They have
What did they say?
they have blitzed Josh Allen more this year than they did the last couple of years, and I think it's mostly
agree with
worked. But that one play, he beat him bad.
It's interesting because how much do they have to because they don't have Judon? Like, they have to send guys because they just don't have the horses right now outside of, Barmore, maybe Keon White a little bit. But, just to go back to Mapu, I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, it seemed like they specifically put him in there. I didn't look at the splits from the first Bills game. I know Kincaid had a bunch of production in that game. But, other than the big catch, I thought, Mapu did a pretty good job on him. And I think that's what I'm seeing from Mapu is, like, just that length. Like, none of those other safeties are really ideally suited to cover tight ends like he is. So I wonder if that's something that he's kind of carving out as a role that they can use going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a lot at the
Sorta
second
like
level.
A Rodney Harrison type coverage guy.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good coverage on that. I couldn't really see.
You put him on Dallas Clark.
in the
Dallas
end zone. There was an incompletion. I think it was to Kincaid. He kind of was just running like a little post from inside, but I couldn't tell if it was just kind of a bad throw. It was like one of those ones where everything kind of happens in a jumble. You can't see it, but I thought Mapu looked pretty good. I know Keon White was too. People were. I wish I could see it. I don't know.
So, I think there's two narratives coming out of this game. One, like Paul said, microcosm of the season, more of the same, and the other was, wow, they're playing hard to the end, and it must be for Bill.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
It's not number two.
I'll give the defense a lot of credit for what they did, and I'm intrigued at the fact that I think they have closed the gap against Josh Allen. I mean, in 2020 and 2021, the guy didn't punt, right? Like, he was just up and down the field, and they looked like they were playing a different sport against Buffalo.
So, but really, though, and not to take anything away from the defense, though, but is it that they've closed the gap with the Bills, or the Bills' offense just isn't what it was?
I mean, it can be both. I think it can be both, but either way, that's good news for the Patriots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, if Josh Allen is going to be this player instead of the player that he was, 2020, 2021, when I think he was really in his peak of his powers with Dable, then if I'm a Patriots fan, I'd much rather him be this guy.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's beatable.
It's almost like the same thing that's going on in the AFC West, except no one can really play well enough. But, the Chiefs are having a hard time with their offense.
Yeah, I think the difference is like, I think Buffalo has better supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, I think Shakur can play that slot role pretty well. James Cook's a really good running back. Like, I think that their offensive issues are that Allen has developed some bad habits. He's regressed in a lot of areas.
Okay.
Yeah, like the two fumbles for him, like, this is like you go, it's like 4 turnovers, everybody, 4 turnovers. Well, like, the other side is like, they got a kick return for a touchdown, which is like a turnover, and then they turned it over once, and they had 2 other fumbles. And yes, they didn't lose the fumbles, so they didn't lead directly to points, but they were really mindless fumbles, especially the second one, which could have put them behind in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like, he's short by a yard. He's a moose. Just go for it on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
They're not stopping him on 4th and 1. That was another play where they ran Murray on a third and less than a yard, when every quarterback sneak was getting like 5 yards in the game. Like, why would you turn around and hand it off to Latavius Murray in that situation? The quarterback sneaks they would get in the end zone, they were getting with like nothing.
Yeah.
They weren't even close.
Just feels like all bets are off now with Josh Allen. We're getting down to the
But
end
like
of the season.
that reach,
He's like, I'm just going
with
for
the
it.
ball, like that was insane.
Yeah,
and
he's-
I don't want to play your side of the street. I like Josh Allen, but that was an insane, stupid play.
I get frustrated watching Josh Allen now because it's Fred, you say this all the time. It's like talent wasted. Like, he needs somebody that's going to coach him and is going to rein him in, like, and have him play under control. Right now, his eyes, his feet, everything is just all over the place, and you can see that he's just sped up and moving at a different pace. Like,
he didn't look good. He didn't look good in that game at all.
Chill.
And I feel like the frustration's like taking him now, and he's just like, I'm I've got to try to will us to a Super Bowl.
But
this
I
year.
agree with Evan too. I think that they have some options. I don't think they have elite talent other than Diggs, but they have more options than Kansas City does.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Shakir in particular is a guy that you and I really liked, Mike. I think he's better than the supporting guys for Kansas City.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like Kadarius Toney.
I think Shakir would be a lot better if Allen was playing more under
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
But right
And
now,
big play by Shakir to end the game. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
On that third- on the third down.
another
Also,
terrible call by
Fred,
Steve
I want to
Belichick.
go back to
Sorry.
what you said earlier.
Sorry, Steve.
I think they're playing for not Bill. I think they're playing for themselves and getting their tape together because a lot of them will be free agents.
Yeah.
So
And that's
I
what
don't-
they're saying.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with playing for Bill. I don't think it has anything to do with that, and more so playing for themselves and their futures.
Yeah, and whether it's Bill or not, and I agree with Tamara because I think a lot of players have said as much, but I just feel like there can be things that are true. I think the Patriots are continuing to play hard. I haven't seen since early in the season a lot of examples where now there are individual players, and we can probably get to that in the second hour of the show, Trent Brown, who have decided to just flat out quit. You know? So that's a different thing. But the guys that are on the field, and I say this all the time, when you tank, quote, everybody's tank this, tank that. The guys on the field are playing hard. And this is an example of it. Fred brought up the Cardinals, who go to Philly and allow a 99-yard pick six and still find a way to win the game, playing for nothing.
Yeah.
You could certainly make the argument, just like in New England, that win hurt them.
Yeah.
But they're playing hard because what Tamara said. A lot of the guys that are out there playing are playing for their career. Our boy Greg Dortch.
I just don't see why. I just can't really get into that. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why it matters.
Exactly.
Like it
exactly.
It just doesn't matter. Like
Well, I
it's
think
one
in this
thing-
case, it takes on a little extra because of the situation.
right? Like, but it's all extreme, right? Because it's either they're Brandon Staleying it and they give up like 100 points and totally
Which
quit.
is the one game that I can point to this year where I saw, like, I visibly saw the team quit.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they're doing what the Patriots are doing, which is just not being a good football team and losing.
Right.
Like, and I just don't really know. Like it's either so okay, great. They're not giving up 60 points to the Raiders and getting blown out and losing games like that.
I had
But-
one of my friends point out, he's like, well, like, what about the Jets against Cleveland like last Thursday? And I'm like, well, the Jets did what they do, and they've turned the ball over 32 times this year, which is by far the most in the league. And I don't think that they weren't trying. I just think they're not good.
And Cleveland is good.
And Cleveland has been exceptionally good at defense at home. Like, they continued to play. They fell behind 27-7. The game didn't go away after that. The Jets, they got down inside the 5. They went for it on fourth down, didn't get it. They scored again later. They never really got back in the game, but they kept competing in the game. And then he's like, no, they just quit. I go, well, did the Patriots quit Sunday? Because I saw a team that turned the ball over 4 times in the first half. Like, is that an
First
example of
20
not?
minutes.
Is that an example of not playing hard? I don't think it was. I don't think Bailey Zappi quit, and that's why he threw 3 picks.
Right.
I think it just happened.
Right.
I watched some of those bowl games this weekend and not the semifinal. I did watch the semifinal, but not talking about the semifinal. I was watching it and going, football players are used to playing in meaningless games. Like, it's part of like college football. Like, oh, here we were they trying hard in the bowl game?
I have one
Those
for
kind
you.
of things. Go.
Yeah, the Georgia Florida State one.
God.
There are many questions on
Florida State.
Well,
whether.
Florida State played with their scout team
Yeah,
in that game.
yeah.
Like, that was really
Is that what
unfair.
Scrap told you?
No,
No,
I
that's
refuse to
actually
talk
what
to Scrap.
Yeah.
I
I wanted to ask you, like,
yes.
do you remember, like, about a week and a half ago, we got some email or a call about USC lit it up in their bowl game? Does this make you think differently about Caleb Williams? And
Yeah.
we kind of
Yeah,
laughed.
that was called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody think differently about Jaden Daniels now? Because the guy that played for LSU yesterday
terrible.
lit it up.
Yeah.
Threw for like almost like 390 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, commonality here, LSU has like really good players that were catching passes for him. So like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talent at some of those schools. Now, Florida State's situation's a little different because they're on the way back, and then like they're too deep, didn't play. They had like 24 healthy opt-outs, not counting like the quarterback who's hurt. Like that was like
Did they still play hard for the coach
arguably playing the number 1 team in the country, the best team in the country,
Yeah.
who's pissed with all your backups.
What a surprise.
They just it was like a early in the year when you see some of the big time teams play like a 1AA opponent and they can just hand the ball off every play of the second
Oregon
half.
Liberty.
You know,
popped up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
you could just hand the ball off every play and you can't stop them. That's what Georgia did to Florida State. It was embarrassing. It was like a high school mismatch.
Yeah, it was terrible.
63-3.
And it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Oh, they like I said, they handed the ball off almost every play.
Yeah.
I watched the Alabama-Michigan game, though. That was...
Did you watch that, Mike?
Oh, you were the
I
one?
like every minute of it. Every minute of it. No, it was...
Mike, I'm interested to get maybe a third hour today to get your thoughts on that. Alabama-Michigan.
We do have to
No
talk
thanks
about
on
the other
J.J.
game, though.
McCarthy. But no, it
You
wasn't a great...
I'm a
No
little
thanks on either
disappointed.
one of those quarterbacks.
I'm a little disappointed because I feel like you watched the game that didn't that mattered less.
I know.
To our
No, well, I mean, and I'm
conversations.
not going to rule him out yet, but no, it was... I mean,
No, you can rule JJ McCarthy.
the atmosphere is
I think
great.
no.
Oh, yeah.
The atmosphere.
I
is-
don't
First of
want
all-
to. I don't want to get it thrown back in my face. I don't think he's.
They
very
need
good.
to move the time of those games because for the grandmas like me,
Yeah.
that second game starting as late as it did, I'm not watching that. I'll watch
Yeah.
the highlights the next day.
I watched. I
he
watched.
watched it.
I watched every minute of Michael Penix.
I watched
Oh,
the first
God.
half. Penix is excellent.
Yeah,
He's an
he
excellent
is.
college quarterback. Yeah, I mean he was really, really good last night.
That first throw that he made, that was like, whoa. Yeah.
From the highlights that I saw on Twitter, it just looked like a video game. Like it didn't look real. Watching his throws down
My
the field.
kind of guy throws it downfield too. None of this J.J. McCarthy play action. We're going to dump it in the
Yeah.
flat.
I mean, just
Hope
talk
no one
about arm
covers him.
talent.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So it's left arm. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Watch it. Watch,
I think it's hilarious that that's a.
Yeah, I know. It looks perfect, right?
because everybody asks me that Michael Penix has bad mechanics.
He has
It's
a
like,
funny way of throwing.
he's
I think.
just lefty. Like if you
Yeah, but
watch
I think
it,
lefties look smooth.
if you watch it from a right,
Only when hitting.
the righty perspective, it's fine. Now he does have like kind of that Phillip Rivers type release
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's like a little bit lower than like the Brady over the top release, but it's not like a broken mechanically throwing motion.
He was so good
Yeah.
last night. But how did they almost blow that game? That was amazing.
The injury to the running back
Yeah.
stopped the clock,
Well,
and that
you
was
know how you can avoid that? Take a knee and let the clock run. Just saying. It almost cost them.
All right, so we've set the table there. Anything else that we need to bring up, or
No, still some fallout from Trent Brown kind of dragging into the week, that stuff. But,
yeah, I mean, Bill, he never would, but he certainly didn't poo-poo the idea that, he was in hot water and that's why he didn't travel.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw. I don't know the exact numbers of how much he lost out on that, but I'd be surprised if he finishes the season here. I'm not. Does it make sense just to not dress him for the last one, or do you cut him this week?
I'll give credit to Vidarian Lowe.
Yeah.
Like I would much rather see Vidarian Lowe for whatever reason. I don't know why. Like it's not like Vidarian Lowe is a big part
he plays
of the
hard
future,
for the coach.
but he's been much better at left tackle than right tackle. Much better. Like I think that's his natural position. That's where he played in college, and he allowed 2 hurries in this game, and it really wasn't a huge issue.
It's kind of a nightmare in the middle, though, huh? I saw some of those.
We can get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Mafi?
All of them, and
all of them in the middle.
I hate to. David Andrews is an all-time great Patriot to me. Red jacket guy. I do wonder if he's starting to slow down a little bit. A long season, he's been an Iron Man. He's played like almost every offensive snap for them this year, and it just. I would say 3 out of the last 4 games have been iffy, and this was his worst game of the year.
Does he retire? That's what we were kind of talking about. What more does he have to prove? I don't know. He's a banged up guy. He's played in the trenches for a long time. He's got multiple Super
haven't
Bowl
really
wins.
thought about it, but
well,
I suppose that's on the table.
I feel like
especially if Bill's gone,
Yeah.
like he has to look at that and say, "Geez,
Do I really want to reset?
Yeah, reset with a new coach, perhaps a new system.
You got to find a lot of
Yeah.
energy to go through that transition.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, like, if he wanted to, he's not a free agent, is he?
No.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he wanted a backup job somewhere, he could still be, collecting a check elsewhere in the NFL if he wanted to.
I was going to say on the flip side, though, to be a part of something fresh with a new quarterback and hopefully get a lot of help on the roster, he could want to see what happens.
Yeah.
So
I
I
just
don't think he's a backup.
No. I just think it's tough because when you watch it, like how much is he making up for the rookie guards, right? Like City So is on one side of him, Mafi's on the other side.
I thought the
And-
early sack was responsible for that.
Yeah,
like
and he's just-
they had a stunt inside.
Yeah.
It looked like he was trying to do too much.
Yeah, and I would agree that is part of it, and how much of the communication inside, like they're just getting destroyed by twists up front. Like they can't pick up a stunt to save their
They
life.
had some big guys in on sacks in that game, like that you don't expect to be really involved in
I just
the pass rush.
their picks and stunts up front, like they can't pick any of it up, and like how much of that is just a lack of communication, a lack of awareness by the younger guys, and David Andrews is just getting left out to dry, by those types
Communication's been a big issue. Tamara brought up the idea of a new quarterback, so we should at least update people on the current draft status for the Patriots as a result of the Cardinals winning. Right now, I think they sit in the 3rd spot.
Correct.
There's
Correct.
a chance they could get back to the 2 spot.
Correct.
Somebody from Ness and Dakota Remington, Colt 45.
Yep, perfect.
What's his name?
Yep, that's
Dakota
right.
Randall.
Dakota Randall.
Yeah.
I got some projections for y'all.
He had all the permutations. Yeah, I was talking to him about it in the press box on
He
Sunday.
did a thing which I appreciate somebody doing that kind of work about all the different ways the Patriots could move up or down, and a lot has to happen, either way to get to 2 or get down to. I think the worst they could be is 6, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
I had heard 7, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
But it's so weird with the strength of schedule stuff because I think like the Atlanta game has like a significant impact on the strength of schedule stuff. Like it's so hard to figure out. Every game is going to impact it a little bit.
But
And
if they stay at 3, I mean, they're in the running for at least Drake May, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Because now there's a big movement in Chicago to keep Fields.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that means to the front office, but like fans are like clamoring to keep him.
No, I think there's a possibility of that, but
Yeah.
I would say that they're going to trade if that happens.
Oh, yeah, but they could trade with the Patriots.
Well, yeah, but then you lose resources that you
I
really
know.
don't have.
But if you love Drake May or if you love Caleb Williams and you can do it that way, then you probably need to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
They're not going to be in next year's draft. They're in this year's draft.
No, I mean Washington's going to need a quarterback too. So
Well-
I mean, if they get to 2,
And the other part of that is to go back to the way you started the show with how big this game is.
Yeah.
I feel, and
It could be big
probably
the other
everybody
way.
else feels like they're going to win it.
I think they are going to win it.
And,
Okay. Yeah.
that drops you down probably 5 anyway,
Yeah.
because
And it's
someone,
that's what I-
someone's going to win.
It's what I hate about it. It's
I
like
mean,
you could lose the
I
game
should
to
say
the
lose.
Jets and get the quarterback and then dominate the Jets for, in theory, if it all worked perfectly. Like, it's just such a weird conundrum. I wish it was not like this where you want to lose so that, therefore, we can continue to beat the Jets with someone new. Like,
Well, what was the
weird
game against
segue.
Miami where I think it was Castle threw the ball in the stands?
Yeah.
But that was
The
that-
2-point conversion to
Yeah.
set up a playoff matchup with Jackson.
Right. So they're been an example
instead of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But I can't see the Patriots losing this game.
So-
I can't.
But what happens if the Cardinals, they play the Seahawks? So if the Cardinals beat the Seahawks and the Patriots beat the Jets,
Oh,
Right, but then there's
you
also
gotta go to this.
but then there's also Washington.
Open your stats
Oh,
book and
Yeah.
jeez.
it's
Yeah, it's a
it'll
lot.
may give you an ice cream headache like trying to think about it. That's why I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
just
Plus,
let's talk after the game.
Assuming
figure
the
out-
Giants lose, the Giants' strength of schedule is very close to the
Yeah,
Patriots.
so
So
they
if the
could jump in.
Patriots end up winning,
another team probably in the market
could
for
be
a
another
quarterback.
team.
So if they
Yeah, I
start
don't know about
Mac,
that.
No.
you know what they want
It's a
to
big
do.
contract they gave the
Yeah.
guy.
Nobody caught that.
Oh, sorry.
I said if they start Mac, then we know what they're doing.
If they start Nathan Rourke,
No,
then
they
we
already
know.
said that Zappi's starting.
Okay.
So let me ask you, who said that?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien did this morning.
So now we're just announcing
now we
starting
can say
quarterbacks.
it.
He's been doing that.
Okay.
He's been doing that.
I've seen him say a lot of those decisions aren't mine.
That was when it was.
earlier in
That
the
was
year
still when it was a coin toss.
Yeah, when it was Mac,
Yeah.
and since Zappi's been
Interesting.
He also said it after the Dallas game or the New Orleans game, one of those games, that it's gonna be Mac. Like he's given us a bone every once in a while.
Yeah, and I can't see any reason not to
Oh,
start
no.
Zappy this week.
Did you think it any chance of a change
Uh,
on Sunday?
well,
Because a lot of
No.
people were clamoring for it.
Yeah.
I was not one
They
of
both
those.
I was
stink.
not
You
one
didn't
of them.
clamor?
I was not one
Absolutely
of those
not.
clamoring.
I'm
Oh,
good
they're-
on
they're
that.
bo- they both stink. I don't know what
Somebody
difference it
sitting
makes.
next to me was
Brian
saying,
Moore?
"Oh, they should bring in Mac," and I'm
No,
like, "No,
absolutely
But
not.
then there was a play, I forget what it was, and I said, "Yeah, maybe."
I have to say, when the third interception happened,
Yeah.
now we're on TV, so like we don't get the all 22. You know, when I saw the interception, I was like thinking to myself, you got to get him out. And then they immediately showed the replay, and it was clear.
And it wasn't him.
It was clear that there was a miscommunication on the play, and I was like, okay.
I think that's the one where I said, yeah, maybe you bring it
That
back.
that was the one that I didn't put on Zappy. Like, that was definitely a Jalen Reagor site adjust issue. But I would say that the first two, like the fact, we can get into the PBFF thing if you want. Like, the fact that none of them are his fault are shocking.
Honestly, I don't care enough to get into it. I just thought it was funny that the guy had 3 interceptions and none of them were deemed turnover-worthy plays. Like,
yeah. The first one, he's a beat late to it. Like, you can't throw a quick game and you can't double hitch on a quick game. Like, if you're gonna throw a curl flat quick game, that ball's got to be out before Gesicki turns around. Like, you can't just stare it down.
Using the same kind of thing. Like, if you have like a screen, you know how like a lot of times you have a misdirection screen, and you turn without looking and just throw it.
Yeah.
So those are not turnover-worthy plays if they get picked off.
No. So the reason why the first one wasn't a turnover-worthy play is because Ed Oliver made a ridiculous diving interception off the tip.
But when you throw the ball on a slant and the other guy hits it first, that's a turnover-worthy play. Douglas could have caught that one too.
Yeah. Which one?
The first one. Douglas got inside. I think it was Parker, right?
Parker.
He got inside
Douglas.
Parker.
Sorry, I was thinking Pop Douglas.
Yeah. Oh, no. Russell Douglas got inside the slant on both of the slants.
That was, in my mind, like, the first one is late. Like, and he said it after the game. The first one is late.
Yeah, the guy was just sitting there waiting for it.
The second one is he read the wrong side of the field, first of all. Second of all,
that's what Trent Green said.
It's an absolute telegraph pass. I mean, he's just staring down the slant, waiting for Devontae Parker to make a cut. It's like, what do you think Rasul Douglas is going to do? He jumps it. I thought both of those plays. Look, it was a terrible route by Devontae Parker. It was, Gesicki, could he have tried to box out Rasul Douglas a little bit more? It was a bad luck that it got tipped up in the air and Ed Oliver picked it off. Sure, fine, but like, you have to at least give some of the blame pie to the quarterback.
The first one, the one was Gesicki.
Yeah,
that was the one.
It was Gesicki, right?
That he was underneath him. You can't throw a slant if the guy's got that position.
No, but Gesicki had his step, but the other guy was just waiting. In the open there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a nickel that he's reading, right? The cornerback. And when the corner goes with Pharaoh Brown into the flat, that triggers for him to throw the curl. And he just takes an extra beat in the pocket to make the decision, and the ball's late, and that's how you get the tip.
I would also say the quick out that he threw A.J. Epinesa was probably a turnover-worthy play. I'm just saying, because that one he was looking at. He was looking where he was throwing, and he literally threw it through number 57 for the Bills.
Yeah, this game worried me for Zappy because the Bills play a lot of zone coverage. They're a soft zone team, and they have a decent pass rush. And Mac beat them in Week 7 with a quick release, short passes, get the ball out, get it into space, all that sort of stuff. And that's just not Zappy's game. And they had to dial up deeper passing concepts in this game to cater to Zappy, and he was under 58% pressure rate in this game. And I don't think it was all because the offensive line was bad. I think some of it was him holding the ball and waiting for things to develop. When you have over 3 second average time to throw, and you are throwing a lot of screens and a lot of quick game, and it's still inflated to 3.3 seconds, that tells you that the quarterback's holding the ball a lot.
Yep. All right, Tamara's food is here. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, a lot of emails, no calls, 855-PATS-500. I don't know, is there a problem with the phones, Matt? Is it no? Okay, well, that's all right. We get tons of emails, so we're going to get to them right after this.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon. This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
Final road game of the 2023 season for the Patriots on the final day of 2023. Jalen Reagor to our right on the goal line to return the opening kick that sails end over end in his direction. He'll field from the left hash 2 straight ahead to the 10 to the 15 to the 20 and burst across the 30 and he runs so fast, spins away to midfield. He's gone to the 40 to the 30, left side 20, 10, touchdown Patriots! They turn the
trap. He planted the back foot at the 1, and you saw this lane over the left side, top of the numbers, creases it, and he broke one tackle. Then it was one-on-one with the kicker, and it's the spin move out, and there ain't no flags.
It's going to be a diving interception on the carry. Throws to the left, picked off. Allen takes the snap, lowers the shoulders, knifes in left side. The lead to Buffalo. Touchdown, Josh Allen. Throws the way, it's going to be intercepted. Douglas has another, rising, running across the 30, angles inside 25-20, 15-10. He's going to be hit by Parker outside the goal line, but he tumbles in. A pick 6, a touchdown Buffalo, on a 4th turnover by New England.
What is he looking at? I mean, Mac Jones, get loose, because this kid ain't seeing it today. And to be fair, when you call for the other guy, you got to start calling for the other guy here. That's another awful throw to the left side. Nobody's there. Predetermined chuck and duck.
Gesicki, short motion from the left, a fake to him, and with Zappi back in the pocket, he's going to run it to the left. He's got room to the 10, he's got room to the 5, he's got a clear lane to the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
What a tell of 2 quarters here, man. I mean, you think the offense doesn't have a chance, and then they have a drive like this. You overcome a potential fumble, then you had the drop, and then you got the big screen pass, and then you fall asleep on the backside defensively for a 17-yard scamper for your quarterback, who's proven he's got to bounce back from those 3 early picks. What a run by him. He knew man was there, he read man well, and he got up through that left side. Now you got a chance.
2 receivers left with Allen, the bootleg into the pocket off a play. He's going to throw a deep ball down the left side for Kincaid.
Got it.
Intercepted. Alex Austin roams over and makes the pick, lands inside the boundary, and he tumbles out of bounds with an interception against his original NFL team at the Buffalo 12.
Can you have 2 quarterbacks play worse in the first half? I don't think you can. What an awful telegraph throw. That was horrible.
The snap to the spot, swing of the leg, the kick lifted to the uprights. That kick is hooking left. It's no good.
Roller coaster for that kid, boy. No bump with the confidence from a week ago in Denver. They hit the game winner, and the problem is you give Buffalo the ball back at 36.
He takes the snap, he gets the shove from Murray, he's into the end zone for the 2nd time today. Josh Allen, touchdown Buffalo.
About as easy a drive as you can draw up, thanks to the big play to 50-yarder by Kincaid, running wide open down the middle of the field. And then he just conceded to just pound the rock after that. Now you're in trouble.
Cardona snaps it, Berringer holds, Riley kicks it, and clears the line. That kick is sailing to the uprights. That kick, check that.
Delay game? They called delay game.
The officials stopping
the delay.
The proceedings.
Prior to the snap, delay game, offense.
I told you, it took too long. There's a delay of them sending the team out.
And now the Patriots will keep Berringer out there.
Let's say it's Ryland's bell, because he chucked that one too. You won't see him post-game.
The Patriots have a 1st and goal to go inside the 7 right hash. Zappi under center, delayed give to Elliott, jump cut right, breaks a tackle, stays on his feet, carries into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
Man, we are in this game. It's crazy. Because you've got so many people out. I mean, it's a lot of backups in there. 13 guys. And the effort by Zeke Elliott. As I said, he's got a lot left in his tank. This guy's had a good year. Playing his role. Well, that's odd having Allen not take the knee. Just bringing in a different guy with exchange and all that.
Yeah, I would say
you're not up 21. You're up 6. He needs one bad snap, man.
He's been on the sideline. It's cold.
No kidding.
Settles under the center. He's got Shakir behind him as the safety of sorts. Drops to the left knee on the final play in the final game in 2023 as the Patriots and the Bills part their separate ways. 2 teams headed in vastly different directions. Buffalo will be 10-6. The Patriots have dropped to 4-12. They guaranteed a last place finish for the first time since 2000 as they drop it in Buffalo in their road finale by a 27-21 final.
Bottom line, you make some plays in this game? Yeah, you did. Your defense played its tail off again. You can't commit 4 turnovers in the first half and expect to beat anybody, especially this team in their place. I felt like this game was over end of the first. Zappi bounced back, but everything we talked about why he's playing is because of the lack of ball security on his football team. They can't go back to turn it over like that. Keep you out of this league, man. Playing that position.
Different quarterbacks, higher scoring game, but a microcosm of so many games this season. The defense trying to do its part, and for the most part, doing it to keep you in the game, and the offense simply with too many turnovers.
All right, Happy New Year, buddy. Last road trip for us.
Happy New Year. Last game for us is coming up next week. But again, as the Patriots and the Bills wrap up the calendar year of 2023, it's Buffalo 27 and the Pats 21.
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. You know, Zoe, I know the Patriots are playing tough and hard to the finish, but Zoe sure isn't. I'm looking at him fifth quarter. He's got the mic with no mic flag. He's got his foofy jacket that he doesn't even take off. You know, meanwhile, you know, Rochi has got his nice, you know, suit on. You know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Zoe. I was. You know,
Zoe made me laugh on the third pick. That was clearly on Rager and not on Zappy.
Yeah.
When he just watched it live, he's like, "You got to get him out. You got to be fair. We said to make the move when the other kid was in. Got to make him." And then it never mentioned anything about the possibility that it was like a miscommunication.
Another funny 98.5 story. So we're getting to Buffalo, and we land in Buffalo, and it was a hard landing. And Mark Capella, who is the producer of the broadcast, is one row behind me diagonally, and his glasses go flying, his coffee, and his phone, you know, goes. So we land, and he's looking, finds the glasses, can't find his phone. So like the whole plane is like looking, can't find it. The buses leave. He's still on the plane looking with the flight attendants and the crew. They can't find it. And it turns out his phone fell in the backpack of the person sitting next to him. And the person with the backpack took it and left. And they didn't find it till later. Yeah.
Who was the person? Was it somebody you
knew?
Well,
somebody from 98.5. Yeah.
That's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a lot of people that tell the story about it. Like,
but
I couldn't find it anywhere.
But, you know, he was getting it all weekend. It's like, Mark, do you know where your phone is? You got your phone? You know?
So what was up with the hard landing, though?
It's Buffalo.
He just came down.
We came down, and, you know, like sometimes he goes left to right, you know.
Get the cross.
So to full context here, I was told by Tony Flanagan, the great Tony Flanagan, that if you're military trained to fly planes, that because they land on aircraft carriers, they land immediately. There's no, you don't coast into the landing. And so he thinks that our pilot was trained by Top Gun.
Yeah.
Which,
well, I don't know.
We're also doing Mach 2 to Buffalo.
Because on the way home, it was
a barrel roll.
You know.
Well, if he's trained by Top Gun, then it's good in my book.
Yeah,
Fred.
that's
all
true.
I'm saying.
Like if we get into into trouble up in the air, where we're in good shape.
Or if we want to,
around us,
or if we want to play like beach volleyball or something, we'll be great.
Right.
So.
Play with the boys.
But it was pretty funny. Like we just couldn't find his phone. It's like it went into the vortex. We just couldn't find it.
No?
Whose Siri's going off?
It's not mine.
It wasn't mine. I just looked. I don't know.
That was weird.
So I just want to read this email. This is Steve in Arizona. As far as Penix goes, while I recognize the talent, he's had 4 seasons end with injuries and acromioclavicular joint separation,
shoulder
left
separation.
throwing shoulder in
An
21.
AC joint.
Right.
A right sternoclavicular.
Yes, he's had shoulder injuries. He's had knee injuries.
And ACL injuries, both 18 and 20. Plus, he'll be 24 in May. To me, he'd be a risk as a backup. Never mind as QB1, and certainly not a first-round pick.
Oh,
well, the last part might be true. But,
okay, so
I mean, come on.
The one thing that
he's not a backup.
The one thing about all of this that's going to piss me off the most.
Ooh,
I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay, if you want to bring up his injury history, that's the book. Okay, like he's an injured player. Like he's been injured multiple times. That's why he's not being talked about as the number 1 pick in the draft, let alone a second-round pick.
Okay, well hold on.
No, I'm not done. Not done.
Hey.
Whoa.
The fact that he is 24 years old is because he got hurt earlier on in his career. And this whole like breakout age thing, like this is, I'm going to argue with my like fellow nerds on this one. Breakout age is the most ridiculous draft stat I've ever heard in my life. like breakout age, because the kid.
I've never even heard of it.
So everybody, the
nor have I.
reason why it matters that he's 24 is because people are saying that he's not a truly blue chip elite talent because it took him 5 years in college to start to play like this.
Oh no, I think it's the reason why they don't like the fact that he's 24 is that he's closer to the end of his career.
No, that's not why.
No?
I'm telling
Okay.
you that the reason why the nerds bring up his age is because, like, a guy, like, just to use an example, somebody like Jamar Chase, who broke out at 19 and is just out of the gate a blue chip, incredible NFL prospect, he has a much higher ceiling to people than somebody like Penix, because Penix is older and is considered a finished product, right? Like, he's matured, and this is what he's going to be. This is him maxed out.
No, but to your point, if he's missed a lot of time with injury, he never had a chance.
Correct.
Right.
So that's why the context of every individual player and his age matters. Kyle Duggar was an older prospect because it took him a while to mature into an NFL prospect. Michael Penix had a bunch of injuries where he had Indiana in the top 10 of the AP poll in 2020 and would have been a big-time NFL prospect 3 years ago if it wasn't for the fact that he had all these injuries.
Okay.
So the whole story with him is about injuries.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those case-by-case basis kind of.
Right.
You know, because I would, full disclosure, I fall into that all the time. You know, there's a reason why when the guys declare early for the draft, those are the guys that all generally go quick because
more time.
They're better. It's not like it's not just about because no one would argue if you draft Michael Penix and he's 24 and you get a good 15 years out of him. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
I mean, is that out of the realm of possibility to go from 24 to 39 for an NFL career?
That's the
for
other
a quarterback.
thing. That's the other thing is his position. Like, if he was a receiver, if he was a corner or something like that, and he was an advanced age player, I would say, okay, that gives me pause. But if you're hoping that he's going to be your quarterback for the next decade, he's still only 34 years old.
Right.
So,
that's why that like case by case.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I do in general terms, I do kind of look at the early entries as being more talented.
Christian Gonzalez,
but
early entry.
But I would, be cautious, and I'd want my doctors to look at him because is there something structural with him that he's
that's what I would have a question. Is he more prone to tear his ACL again because he's done it twice?
Right.
That's the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Is his injuries, and there's a really good chance that he falls out of the first round because of that. But in terms of what he's put on the field, basically going all the way back to Indiana, he's been a hell of a quarterback. And
I remember watching him at Indiana, and Indiana stinks every single year.
Yeah, they're never.
And they were really good
when
he played. They had a receiver that I really liked too, and I can't remember his name. I think he was number 8. No, I forget. Never mind.
All right.
No.
Marvin
Penix
writes in from, I believe he's in, he's in North Carolina. Fred, I want to hear Paul's take on the ref's call at the end of the Detroit-Dallas game.
I think everybody's already heard all of the takes. You know, I think everybody's already opined on that.
Marvin hasn't heard your take.
No, I don't really have one that's any different. That's my only point. It's like, I mean, based on what I saw, it looked to me like Brad Allen was talking to Sewell and Decker, and then saw Skipper coming in and didn't even wait for him to get there. He just went and said 70s reporting.
Right, because he's been reporting all game.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I think happened. But no one knows because you can't hear it. And you have to rely on what people are saying. The Lions say that Decker reported and Skipper didn't. Allen saying that Skipper reported and Decker didn't. Here's a way to sort of avoid this stuff. The referee has a mic.
Right.
Why shouldn't it just be open all the time? You know, not open to the public, but just
transparency.
Yeah, a little transparency.
Yeah.
That way we know who's lying.
God, that would be something, but God forbid they,
And again, not open so like the whole game, like how sometimes the referee leaves his mic on and everybody laughs. Not that open, not like that, but like
kind of like a body cam on a
yes,
right?
You can hear and then you can go back. It's like when you have a player mic'd up.
Yeah, and for those. Like sometimes we're in the press box and the mic will forget to turn off the ref will forget to turn off his mic and nothing gets a press box howling than to hear a ref forget about it's like no matter what he says they
just when people bring up Michael Penix's age that's it. That's the only other thing.
So like the Brad Allen thing, he's been involved in some of these games now, and at some point there has to be repercussions.
I was pissed.
I think they got screwed.
I picked the Lions.
I think the Lions got screwed, but I also think the Lions contributed to it by trying to intentionally be vague. I think they try to pull a Patriots
because I never
didn't
saw
have the metal to
I
pull it
never
off.
saw 68 go like this on his shirt.
Apparently nobody signaled on the shirt. It was all verbal.
Right.
Yeah. My other favorite part about the road is that like when there's a Saturday night game, the Sunday morning before the buses leave.
That's all anybody's talking about.
We talked about this, and it's like everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got to weigh in. I just the Lions. Everybody's given the Lions the benefit of the doubt. And my whole thing is why they're the Lions.
But this is
they
my
mess these things up all for my entire life.
This is my point. Just let us hear her, and then that way I don't have to take. Now, here's my problem with Brad Allen specifically. Did you read the pool report at all?
A little bit, yeah.
So he goes through the whole thing, and he says 70 reported, 68 did not. Okay, whatever. I think we can all sort of have our opinion as to whether or not we think he's telling the truth. Then he said something along the lines of, they also were in a legal formation.
Right.
So even if because he was covered up.
You didn't call it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a lie.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a million examples of there are 2 fouls on the play, both against the offense, illegal shift, that penalty's declined, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
They didn't do that.
Yep.
So you can tell me that you had another penalty anyway. So even if I got it right, it wouldn't have counted because he was covered up. That's not what you called on the field.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no difference between that and letting a blatant hold go.
Yeah.
You didn't call it on the field, so it didn't happen.
And, to Paul's point with the transparency, they might have to move in that direction because with more and more and more casual fans now betting because it's legal, you can't have the public losing confidence in the officials.
It's just so hard to imagine these guys are like going home, working a job during the week, at the law firm that they're at, and then, I don't know for sure though that the answer is that if they're in ref school all week and reviewing calls,
I definitely don't think that's
doing
the answer,
those things that it's really going to make that much of a difference. But it's just strange to have this multi-billion-dollar industry all kind of hinging on part-time refs.
I think Paul should open up a business. It should be the Paul Perillo School of Officiating and Time Clock Management.
He is good at the clock management.
Oh, yeah.
He would have helped Andy Reid back in the day.
All right, well, he did consult.
You'd be like the Ernie Adams of
maybe the Patriots could use that.
You're right, Fred. I think it is trending to a change in that direction, and I think it's very you have that replay booth, the sky judge, so to speak, that they kind of sort of use.
Yeah.
They fix plays quickly now, which I think is a step in the right direction.
It's like a rapid replay thing. Yeah.
They do it in those other leagues, like the USFL. I think did it.
Yeah.
Let us hear it. And it's not the whole game.
Let's hear what they're saying.
At least, let's just say there's a replay judge, right? He has access to everything communication-wise that's going on the field. And if it's something like this that we need to hear later, we can hear it. Because I think what bothers people is, and John Parry was the guy, he was the official in the booth.
Oh, he
for
butchered it too.
Yes. And it's like, and you know why he's butchering it, Ev? He's
protecting his guys.
Yeah. He's just, it's the onus is on the player there. I mean, what? So in other words, you don't just have to report. You have to knock the guy over and say, hey, you make sure.
Yeah, right.
I do actually.
That you get this.
But I don't understand. So they have to make a public announcement.
Yeah.
Number 70 is reported to be eligible. At that point, doesn't Dan Campbell say, whoa, 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 no, that's not right?
I'm not even paying. I'm on my headsets. I'm calling the play. I'm not listening to
somebody,
that.
Jared Goff or whoever.
I don't know. It's
somebody
a good point,
needs
Fred.
To,
They
all
should
the
have
same
caught it.
thing.
They
I
should
don't
have saw
think
it
that's
coming.
something that you'd be even paying attention to.
Okay.
No.
I'm calling the play in the huddle. The game's on the line. I'm not
guess.
listening to what the referee's saying to the other team.
I guess.
I do agree, though, with the point, though, that the onus is on the player. Mike,
to report.
Yeah,
yes.
And Mike Vrabel, I don't know if it was recently or whatever, but he talked about it because obviously he had to report when he would come on the field. And he said that he would grab the ref and look eye to eye with him and be like, I am reporting as eligible.
But don't you feel like Decker did that?
It didn't look like
what else? What
I
else?
don't know.
What
I
else
don't know
you
what he did.
but
I'm just saying that
the huddle's here. Brad Allen and Decker are over here, and Sewell.
Right.
That's why I think they were trying to be vague.
Schadenfreude.
But what else could he possibly be saying?
Yeah, It was weird because there were two people with the ref, and then 70 comes running over like.
And if you watch it, as
his hand
70
up in
gets
the
about
air.
halfway there,
he gives.
Brad Allen leaves.
Right.
Brad Allen never let 70 get within earshot.
Yeah.
And yet he just determined that he was the guy that was reporting.
Right. So it was weird.
The
So
ref-
I do
the ref
think that they
messed it
made a
up.
mistake,
I
but I
they
think
did.
part of it is the Lions' fault.
Yeah.
I file it too with just what happened here with the balls. Like it's just the refs showing inattention to detail and like, these little things that are just kind of slipping through the cracks. And it's like, oh, sorry, we didn't know.
And
then,
I think that people wouldn't be. I think what I don't know about you, but what I get incensed after the fact when you're seeing something, and you clearly see it, and they
Right.
tell you that you didn't see what you saw.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think if you just have a little transparency, or even worse, if it's a guy, and I don't know Brad Allen from Mike Dussel, like I don't know who this guy is.
pretty good.
You know, so
I mean, we have the technology.
right, there should be
You know,
repercussions
even
for that.
even on some of these close calls, they can stop the clip and they can say, "See that? That's where we made our determination at that point."
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you kind of can see it the way he kind of like looks at him.
Like that pool
and,
report was insulting to anybody who's ever watched a game because you're watching something that's totally different from what this guy is saying.
All right, 855-PATS-500. Let's turn it over to the listeners. We'll start with Harry, who's in Maryland. What's up, Harry?
Hey, it's good to hear your voices here.
Sure.
It's perfect timing because I was calling to talk about this Detroit thing.
Okay.
I thought I was on an island. I blame this completely on Detroit.
Oh,
and
you are.
I've been taking a beating with everybody telling me it's the ref's fault. So I'm.
It was the ref's fault.
I think it's part. I think both are culpable here.
Yeah, I think that the Lions tried to be too cute, but it's on the ref.
Yeah.
The ref screwed up.
And then they asked Bill.
If this happened to the Patriots, there'd be a storming of Roger Goodell's office.
And this
would never
morning,
happen to the Patriots.
on one of your shows.
No, I'm saying if they tried to be intentionally vague
Yeah.
and do that, and they didn't.
backfired.
If Bill Vinovich screwed up the Ravens game, there would be an attack on Bill Vinovich, not on the Patriots for trying to be too cute.
I couldn't agree with you more.
They asked Bill this morning about it, and they went back to that Ravens game and said, what's the process, when you're doing that? And Bill took it totally the wrong way. It's like there was nothing illegal back then, and there's, he wasn't saying that what you did was illegal. He was asking, what's the process to make sure that the ref knows?
And it would incense a
Right.
team that does go outside the box to think of these different ways to try to get an edge within the rules.
Within the rules.
And if the referees screwed it up, and again, if Dan Campbell is to be believed, which I'm not necessarily believing everything, if he went over this before the game with them and they still screwed it up,
Well, apparently Brad Allen, and this is standard operating procedure. Brad Allen
Nothing to see here.
was not in that meeting. So I guess that's how it's. I don't know. That's what Pro Football Talk reported, and he said that that's standard operating.
What else, Harry?
I think earlier when you said no one knows what was said, that's the big point. We see those guys 68 runs over to the ref. He might run over there and say, "Hey, we're running that tackle eligible thing again," and the ref says, "Oh, okay." You have no idea what that conversation was.
that's why I said there should be transparency.
And again, now that gambling is legal, we have to have that transparent. When it was illegal, you couldn't feel
So,
sorry for the bettors
I don't
because they
really
were doing
care,
something
like-
that was against the law. But now
I know
it's
everybody
legal.
everybody goes down
Money.
that road. I don't really care about that. Like,
I do.
don't.
I do. I want it all to work out.
I just want the games to be officiated properly.
Right.
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah.
But, Paul, they announced it. I mean, the entire Detroit team is standing there, and no one thought, whoa, 70?
That's what I thought.
I don't think you're even paying attention to that. I think you go over and report, and now you're worried about the play. You're calling the play.
Yeah.
You're not listening to what the referee said.
I don't know. There's a lot of
There's
people.
100 guys over there that somebody should have.
There's actually 11, but that's okay.
No, but he's talking about on the side.
Everybody on the sideline,
All right,
assistant
I'm
coaches.
sideline.
All right. Thanks, Harry.
I just to go back to your point about if they had messed this up with the Patriots against Baltimore. My whole thing is that
you would have been one of them. You would have been at Goodell's.
I'm not disagreeing.
Goodell, as Mad Dog would say, Goodell.
With your point, what I'm telling you is that the Patriots would not have screwed this up. The Patriots would not.
But
have
I'm not
screwed it
willing
up.
to say Detroit screwed it up.
I'm telling you that
That's
I've
all I'm
watched
saying.
Detroit screw up things. My
I would like
entire
to
life.
hear the actual conversation so I know who screwed up.
Fair
I
enough.
like to know who did something wrong.
Right.
That's my whole problem with this. I'm not telling you Detroit's right or wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, but when you don't know,
And that's the way the league wants it.
No, but when you don't know, then to Evan's point, and you see Detroit screw up things over the years, you're like, well, they probably did something wrong.
But isn't that wrong?
It is, but
that coach is such a fraud. Please.
Dan Campbell?
Such a fraud.
Why is he a fraud?
Because
I think he's one of the most unique guys in the league.
He's a great motivator. Great cheerleader for his team. But his coordinators do all the work.
Okay.
And, good for him.
So I'll say this,
is anyone giving him credit for putting together the game plan?
No, I'm just saying.
They're giving him credit for motivating his team.
Yeah, and he does a good job of that. But if you're asking me again, do I think that he handled this whole thing properly as the head coach of the team?
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you no, because I think he's a knucklehead.
And I'll take it a step further. I think that once the play happens, okay, it's unfortunate you lost a potential go-ahead 2-point conversion. Notice I say go-ahead, not game-winning, which is another element of that got completely glossed over. You got to just kick the extra point. You can sit there and say, I'm pissed. I'm going to try to prove a point and win anyway so I can tell you to go screw yourself after the game. That was dumb.
He's so boneheaded when it comes to those situations.
But I don't think that it was boneheaded to go for 2. But when you go back to the 7-yard line, now you're just being stubborn.
Right. Yeah. Right. Just take the tie.
Kick the extra point from the 38. It would be 38 yards now instead of 33. Just kick the extra point.
Right.
I've got it in my head what I got it in my head what I imagine.
I think
saying.
that is part of it.
I got Decker walking over, and be like, hey, reporting, and then he goes, what? Who's reporting? And then he looks up and he sees Skipper. He's like, okay, I'm reporting, and then reporting. It's all muddled and stuff.
I don't think. And if you're asking me my personal opinion, I think Decker went over it in no uncertain terms. He reported. I think there's not a coincidence that it was 58 and 68, and I think that's why they both went to him. And Decker said, I'm reporting. And they figured when they said, maybe there'll be some confusion. Was it 68 or 58? Yeah, one of those deals. That's what I think they tried to do.
I'm reporting. Who's reporting? Hey, this guy coming in? Oh, that guy.
They outfoxed everybody, including the official.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah. I think they confused Brad Allen. But that doesn't mean that it's Detroit's fault. Yeah. It's Brad Allen's fault for getting confused.
I agree.
If that's what happened.
Patty's in Agawam. What's up, Patty?
What's going on, everyone?
Hi.
Paulie, that wide receiver you're thinking of, I think, was Antoine Randall.
No.
Oh, that was way back.
That was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
With Paul Brown.
Yeah, I know. I don't have much to add on.
Okay, thanks for calling.
You got it.
Just wanted to say hi.
Patty, bring it.
Is that it?
No. Just what you guys were talking about the Jets game and how you're kind of I don't want to say that you're penciling them in for a win, but I think the last game that I actually penciled this team in for a win was the last Jets game they played in the Meadowlands in week 3 or 4. I can't do it. I
know.
I don't see them.
You're right. I'm being overly simplistic about this game. I just can't imagine them losing this game because it's the Jets. Yeah. They're terrible, and I know their defense is really good and they've played really well, but boy, their offense is putrid. And I think our offense has gotten just enough where we might score 12 points and win the game,
Might turn it over.
I think it's going to be a 10-7
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have to score a lot of points to win this game, in other words,
I'm not revealing my bold pick until Thursday.
You already revealed it. I already know what your bold pick is.
Yeah, but that doesn't air right away, so you have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Patty. We'll go to California. Rob's on the line. What's up, Rob? Are you in a dentist chair? What's going on?
Yeah, great. Sorry, I must be on line 3, man. I can barely hear you, but I'm just going to talk. So this is Rob in San Diego via Connecticut.
Okay.
I was at Jersey Mike's yesterday. I was thinking of y'all, but I have 2 questions. Because the connection's bad, I'm going to read.
Yeah, make it quick, and then we'll try to. Yeah.
All right. So the first
one's
got
7 drones with them.
So look, if the team goes out there, they play the Jets, and they're playing conservative, they're kicking field goals, there's not a lot of emotion. I think I know the answer, but it's more speculation. Do you think that might be indicative that Belichick is coming back? If it's not a high emotion game, that they're not throwing the kitchen sink at the Jets, they're doing these little dink and dunks and punting.
No.
So that's my first question.
Okay.
My second question is this. My brother-in-law is visiting Connecticut right now, and he's going up to the Hall of Fame this week in the stadium. I haven't been there in a few years. I wanted to know if there's anything he should check out. Is there a new exhibit? Is there anything happening at the Hall of Fame you should specifically?
Okay, I'll answer that when you get off. As far as the Hall of Fame, call first because sometimes there's like corporate events and they actually close it to the public on game day, unless they come on Saturday and then you can check it out. But how long ago did he say he was the last time he was here? A couple years?
A few years. I mean, if you didn't see the new Super Bowl exhibit, I mean, they have some new stuff from the latest win.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a wonderful place. My son Campbell came yesterday. We shot our show, and Campbell tagged along, and then he's been there 100 times, but he's like, let's go through again, and there's plenty to do there for the kids and all kinds of interactive stuff.
Yeah, and there's a new bar called The Harp that opened up where CBS
We went to The Harp.
You could check that out.
We did that, too.
Yep.
He was very high on the Harp, too. You liked it there.
I was a little
couple
bit...
of drinks.
Couple drinks.
Couple nooners for Cam.
Good for him.
I was a little bit shocked that was even open on
The Harp. I know. Well, it was
New
good
Year's
because there
Day.
was no one there, and so we hopped right in, got some
it's a
apps.
restaurant.
Got some
No, I mean...
buffalo chicken
like
dip.
the Patriots Hall of Fame. Why
Oh.
was that open?
Oh.
Was it open or did you just
was
go?
open.
No, it was
No,
open.
there were
That was
people in
open,
there.
yeah.
There were
Day
people in
off.
there.
You gotta go. You gotta be open.
I guess,
should've
because everybody's off. So
Yeah.
We should have told them to go. Usually Mondays at 10 is the sweet spot because you get to see some, might see some famous
Celebs.
people.
Yeah.
Like 98.5, the Sports Hub, Paul Pearl.
And what was his first question? Oh, about
98.
will we
it's
have any
playing hard.
indication that?
My whole thing with this week is like you wouldn't know what week it is, what their record is. Like they are just like he's going to present the game plan. They are like there's not going to be any talk about the end of the season or anything.
I would
with
just
them,
say
I
like
think. It's just
this season. I mean, like Fred's right. It's been consistent in that they've been sloppy, but like there's no way of knowing how the game's going to unfold. Like. I would never have told you they're going to turn the ball over 4 times.
Right.
Before you even settle in your chair on Sunday. So,
who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in 2020 when they beat the Jets in was it week 17, week 18?
Oh yeah,
or
with
whatever?
Cam Newton. Yeah, I remember that
Didn't
one.
Jacoby throw a touchdown pass to Cam Newton in that game?
I believe that is correct.
Right, like so they were doing that kind of stuff.
Devil may care.
In that game, like, right? And he wasn't getting fired after that season.
No. The only way I think we'd get an indication that this is Bill's last game is if they come out like in the wing tee or something like that and start running like old school.
Well, I hope they do that so that they can lose.
Drop kicks, stuff like that.
What's he gonna wear too?
No.
I mean,
He comes out dressed
unfortunately,
like Paul
the pick's the
Brown.
other direction.
This could put a cap
Me
on
too.
the hoodie database too. So what's he gonna wear? You know,
A lot of people want to know how you're going to wrap that up if indeed this is the last.
Now, when it's all done, will you donate the database to the Smithsonian?
Maybe to the Hall of Fame here, but
the Naval Academy.
I don't know. I mean, there's probably a book in there. So I mean, like I don't know. I've never really
There's
thought
a
about
book
writing
in the
book.
database.
There's a
I
book
just
in
wanna know.
right? Like I mean, like
Wow.
the Bill Belichick hoodie history.
Maybe it's like a.
I think there's
it's a picture book. It's a picture book.
Yeah, picture book.
A scrapbook.
graphics.
It's a coffee table book about coffee tables.
Yeah.
Why not a scrapbook?
Yeah.
graphic novels.
It's a picture book.
They're gonna be like.
No.
I don't know. If Bill goes though, I'm gonna be.
Maybe it could be a coffee table book with scraps of each hoodie
Oh my
on the.
god.
Now
Yeah.
you're talking.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be-
and each page is signed by Bill.
If he
This is
goes,
why-
it's going to be a big week for me in the dumpsters out there because I'm just going to be waiting, see if anything gets chucked out there. Like, what are these ratty old sweatshirts? They throw it out. You don't realize that, that's the 2016 blue cutoff hoodie that he's 75 and 2.
I once met with this custom book company that makes these like really expensive books on like special cloth paper and all this
Leather
stuff.
bound.
And they come in like wood boxes, and you literally put gloves on before you open it up and
grease. And fingers,
like the pages are signed. There was one with Muhammad Ali, and we were thinking of doing like a commemorative Patriots thing that each book would be like $5,000, but didn't do it. But
I don't think
it was
gonna pay
fascinating
$5,000.
to see these books.
Yeah.
Usually
that's just really old books, not really nice.
No,
books.
these are like custom made books. Like some of the binding was like snakeskin.
Rich mahogany.
Really cool. Did you have something to say?
Sexy books.
Tamara?
I was wondering.
Hey.
I was wondering how many people are going to show up to the game if this weather is horrible, and I just went on StubHub, and there's a lot of very cheap tickets on here.
Oh, I would
It's
imagine.
very alarming.
But
I also,
if it is Bill's last game, 80,000 people will say they were there for it.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
I'm not sure. Literally in section 224, row 12, which is decent seats, $39.
Ooh.
Well,
Probably shouldn't.
Might
be.
I want to go to that game.
So I'm just saying
Would you say you
that
might wanna
I'm not
go?
sure I
Yeah.
would want to see two teams who have probably the worst offenses in the NFL playing at
That's
Wizards.
true.
But would you
I'd
want
watch on TV.
But would you potentially want to see you saw Bill's last game?
Kinda.
I don't know if that's worth sitting in a blizzard
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
This
No.
ain't Tom Brady.
To watch a 0-0 game at half.
Yeah,
Look at him coaching down there.
Look at him. Look at how he wears that
Oh,
headset.
he just threw that headset. He threw.
I
he-
disagree with the 0-0, but again, just to
0-0 at
pro
half,
tease,
it's possible.
pro
He's
tease.
gonna break a tablet for the last.
I
It is
just
possible.
It's
It is
possible.
possible.
Yeah, of course, it's possible,
Always.
but I think for this game, I will try to soak in a little bit the fact that this could be his last game, because in 19 with Brady it was a playoff. It was such a different stakes that the focus was just on the play and the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game, unless you are pulling like me for them to lose, really doesn't matter. It's more just this could truly be it. Like,
do you think there are more than the people that were actually here claiming they were at that game?
Brady's?
Yeah.
No, because he threw a pick to end the game.
Well,
if he had won the game,
gosh,
everybody would have said, "I saw that."
I really don't think that's true. I mean, unless it was like a Super Bowl.
Well, Ted
Like,
Williams.
A random last game. Yeah, no one says they were at that game.
That's the whole thing about that game. Everybody said they were there, and there was only like 15,000 people at the game.
Okay, well, you were there, so
Right.
I'll
Teddy
take your
Williams.
word for it. That's before my time.
That was the whole thing
I don't.
about
I
that.
don't know anybody who
Ted
said they were
Williams'
at that
last
game.
game. Everybody said they were there, and the ballpark was half empty.
I just couldn't see I couldn't see myself going to a game that has like no playoff implications for either team. Both teams are horrible. Their offenses are horrible. Like the blizzard. Like I just don't.
What
see
about,
it.
What about just simply paying your respects to Bill Belichick?
See,
I
this
can
could
do
be-
that
I
by
could
watching
get-
on TV.
I could get into that if this was like they won
80 degrees.
No, like if they won, like let's just say that they won a Super Bowl last year, and Bill like sort of announced, "I'm retiring."
Yeah.
I could get into it. The uncertainty surrounding Bill's future to me is not enough for me to go to the game if I don't want to go. Like I mean, if you want to go you're a season ticket holder, by all means you should go. And I do think the snow, if we get snow, I think that helps that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like you remember the snow game? And,
Sure.
you know there was nobody here that
Right.
day,
But they all claim they were.
Okay, I'll take your word for that stuff. I don't really know anybody that clamors to say that they were there, but
they were.
I know I was here. I know I left like the day before to get here. I just, if he was retiring,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
I think it would be like a pay your respects to Bill Belichick.
Yep.
I think
I'm
there's
also
too
not
much
sold
uncertainty.
I'm just not sold that he's done here.
No,
I don't
think it's done.
No, I don't think it is either. And the closer that we get, Deuce and I were talking about this earlier. It's a whole program that you have to tear down if he's gone. Like it's not just
Well, that's what I would do.
the coach, right? But it really is like because it's the coach. The whole infrastructure of the football operations is him. Like he put the whole thing together.
Again, we don't know anything, but what if it's Gerard?
But I guess my point.
I'd still delete the whole thing.
That's kind of my point, though, is that I just am not anticipating that it's going to be all that different. Like, yes, I think it might be. It could be Gerard, or it could be Bill with like a souped up scouting staff or something like that. But I'm just not imagining that it's going to be Ben Johnson's going to be the coach here in 2 weeks, and it's a completely different thing. And we have a GM that none of us have ever heard of or has never been here. We never spoken to. Like I think a lot of fans, that's what they would prefer is a complete clean house and rehaul of football. And I just don't think
That's what I would prefer.
I don't
Same.
think that that's realistic. I just
if
don't.
you're making a change, like if you're keeping Bill, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're making a change, I would definitely lean to the latter.
Yeah, because otherwise I feel like it's going to end up with what you said, Evan, about like dressing up a pig or putting on makeup on a pig. I feel like
It's lipstick.
lipstick on a pig.
dressing.
Whatever the saying
That's
is,
the saying.
I feel like it would just be the same thing if you just kept everybody but
Fred
just
calls it
moved
perfume.
Gerard.
Everybody else says lipstick.
Well, I mean, and maybe not the best example, but when Bill came in here, was like the whole scouting staff gone, all the front office was gone. I mean, is everybody
No, a lot of
like when
people
you
see-
turn
and
over a
see,
coach and GM, is
that's the
everybody
thing.
gone?
Well, when Bill came,
I don't know
they
if that's a great example.
They kept the
'cause-
personnel department through the draft. Then they all got fired.
That's how it usually works.
Yeah, and you hear a lot of times in teams like, oh, this equipment manager's been there for 50 years or so.
Yeah.
That means that they've
Like
gone through many
Dante.
regimes.
Dante got through a
Yeah,
lot of them.
and those behind the scenes things. It's better to just keep people who know what they've been doing rather than have to worry about hiring those positions. Like we have a person here, Nancy Meyer, who's been here since Bucko Kilroy.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get rid of her. She'll be loyal to whoever the new head coach is. She knows her job. The players love her. She takes care of those things so you don't have to think about them. And those people tend to stay from regime to regime.
Yeah.
So really all the new people have to worry about is what's going on with the players and the plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, the closer that we get to it, I said it last week. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that they're actually going to do it because I just think that it's been built up an entire infrastructure for 25 years. And I don't know if they have the cojones to do it, honestly.
But
it's a big move to move on from Bill Belichick.
No, I agree with that part. But in terms of, it's an entire regime, I mean, you're going to have to do it at some point.
Mm-hmm. I just think
whether it's this year, next year, or 2 years from now,
plan,
he's not going to coach forever.
Right, but I think the plan was to pass the baton to Gerard, but I don't think they're ready to pass the baton to Gerard yet, and I think the plan was to pass it to him in a year or two after he passes Shula's record and after Gerard gets some more experience, and then they do it on more of a high note. Now you're passing the torch to Gerard for him to fix a 4-13 football team. It's a much different situation.
I feel like I don't know if this is speaking out of turn. I hope Fred will just yell at me if I am. But I feel like if you want to keep Bill, the only reason to keep Bill is because you think he's the best man for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fear of changing.
Right.
And they're all relevant things that you're talking about. This isn't necessarily coming at you for what you just said. But if that's the reason why you keep it, because I'm not ready to make all these changes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the timeline is right for Gerard. If you think Gerard Mayo is the next coach, and it's a year or two before you really figured that you'd make the move, that's not the reason to stick with Bill Belichick.
Especially if you've got the third pick and you're planning to somehow get a quarterback. I can't delay the transformation of the offense.
That's how I feel.
I've got to get going.
And if you want to keep Bill because you think Bill is the best man for the job,
then keep him.
Then make that argument and make that be the reason.
But trying to keep him for that record, it's going to take him 5 more years.
Yeah, and that's another one.
I cannot.
I couldn't care less about the record. And I'm not sure Bill cares as much as people think he does about the record.
I just think that the bigger, I think that you can really say that Bill. It's hard to imagine them getting a better head coach than Bill Belichick, but he might just not be the right head coach for the team right now.
Right.
That I think is where it becomes so difficult to decide what to do, is because no matter what you do in 2 weeks, if Bill Belichick's not the head coach of the Patriots, you're downgrading the head coach of the Patriots. But Ben Johnson might be the right guy for this era of the Patriots because you are going to have Drake May and you are going to have young skilled players, and he is going to put those guys in an offense that's modern and has a chance to succeed. And all that stuff could be true. I think that there's still so many things that Bill does better than anybody else that it's hard to imagine that he's going to be truly a better, well-rounded head coach than Bill. And I worry about that sort of thing coming out, like that sort of side of it once the dust settles and the reactionary stuff goes away of going 4-13 or 5-12 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the ideal thing would be, I guess, or the easiest thing would be, is if Gerard takes over and he gives the offense to one of Evan's guys, some newfangled, offensive-minded guy, and so Gerard doesn't have to worry about the offense. He kind of hands it over to this person. Gerard's just kind of overseeing the team. Whether it's DeMarcus Covington or whatever, he keeps him as his defensive coordinator, and then the transition isn't as big a thing.
Yeah, the problem is that's the best idea in theory. But these offensive-minded guys are all getting head coaching jobs.
I hear you.
So, they're not going to take, a Ben Johnson from Detroit and make him make a lateral move.
It can't. But it has to be somebody that's next in line somewhere to be OC, and you're grabbing him before the other team does and making him your OC.
I'm blanking on his name right now, but the offensive coordinator in Miami is an interesting guy because he's somebody that doesn't call plays right now in Miami because McDaniel calls the plays. So for him to truly get offensive coordinator, head coach type of aspirations. It's kind of like Eric Bieniemy, right? Like you almost have to leave the nest and call plays for yourself and establish yourself as a big offensive mind someplace else. So he could bring the Shanahan offense to New England and run it himself and call the plays and things like that, and then maybe that springboards him to a head coaching job. But that just means in 2 years he's going to be gone because he's going to be the head coach someplace else.
And you notice we're not talking about GM right now, which could be the bigger question.
No.
You know, who's picking these guys in April?
I definitely think there needs to be a separation between head coach and GM and not have them be all one person
Frank
again.
Smith, sorry.
Yeah.
Cannot be
How'd you
all
forget
one
that
person
name?
again.
I was going to say Matt Smith, and I was like, that's not it.
No Socks, the OC.
Yeah.
I wonder, too, what the defense looks like in a post-Bill, post-Belichick world here. And does this defense get totally changed? Because I
Bill
wonder.
leaves and the defense looks like those little guys on the metal football thing. You turn the electricity on, they all go in different directions.
I just feel like he's built it in a very specific way, and there's a lot of players that, I think Gonzalez can play, Jonathan Jones can play, but I wonder if another guy comes in here and says, I don't really have any use for Jawan Bentley. I'm kind of over Devon Godchaw. Like a lot of the pieces that they've, kind of unique to the Patriots, that they've wanted to do things the way they want to do it. I could see another person being like, this isn't going to work for me in any capacity up front.
But you might also get guys that would work better with a new guy. Maybe an Uche.
Right.
Someone like that.
I get your point, and I like that point. I don't know about Uche specifically.
No, I'm just saying a guy who doesn't really have a full-time role. I was just
no. I know.
Uche's probably going to go either
I didn't
way.
mean to go.
Chris Board would shine with another.
I'm also kind of worried about that. Like, I think defensively they're really sound. Like, I think they're a really well-coached defense.
I would totally agree
And
with that.
I wouldn't touch the defense. Like, I'd bring back everybody. not. Like, if Kyle Duggar goes out and gets $50 million, then I'm okay with moving on.
You wouldn't touch the defense. That means you wouldn't touch the defense philosophy.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't think the defensive philosophy is broken.
Okay.
And I think that they've adapted it enough now where they have the Kyle Duggars, Marty Mapus, Jabril Pepperses of the world who are basically, I'm going to give them some credit. I think Bill looked at it and said, I could have a 225-pound linebacker that's a little bit better than the average linebacker in coverage, but worse against the run, or I could just have a safety play linebacker who's a really good coverage player.
Yeah.
And like he looked at it and said, I'd rather just play the safeties at the second level of the defense.
But to Deuce's point, a guy like Devin Godchaw, who Bill says is one of the best defensive linemen in the league, maybe another guy says not in my defense.
But there's the big fatty two-gappers, and we
want
a penetrating front,
because they have Kyle Duggar playing at the second level of the defense.
Right.
So
it's all connected.
If the guards get up to the second level and a 215-pound safety is up there, then that's going to be an issue. So they have the guys, the Godshaws, the Wises, the Barmores, and those guys to hold up the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that goes to the point that I was just making, was that it's all connected. If you pull out, if you want to go smaller at linebacker, then you also might want to get more penetrators up front. And it's
I think a
plenty
lot of
permutations,
teams have big space eaters up front. I just don't think a lot of teams prioritize
play
them
them
the way
like
the Patriots
they're more of a spot player in short yardage.
They're like minimum
situations,
salary guys, not $9 million a year guys.
Yeah, but on the flip side too, not to say that Brian Flores is going to come here and be the defensive coordinator, but I'm sure he could take this personnel and put a really good team together and not have to change everything because he's kind of from that tree.
You'd have Uche blitzing every play.
I would just retain the coaching staff on that side of the ball. Like if that just means, okay, like Ben Johnson's the head coach and Gerard Mayo is now the official defensive coordinator instead of whatever the heck he is right now. Like just make it that way. I would bring back the whole staff if I could.
I don't think you can keep his Belichick's sons though.
That's tough. That's why Covington is interesting, just because Gerard kind of comes with the baggage. Baggage using that term loosely, but the Belichicks are the Belichicks. So Covington, though, I think is universally respected, and he was down at the Senior Bowl. He's another one of those guys that I could see maybe surviving a regime change and kind of maybe somebody they could stick.
I was just thinking though, if Bill doesn't go anywhere else to coach, but he's retires or whatever, and you keep Steve,
no.
Do you at least get Bill on the phone every week?
No.
I would go for that.
You have to, no.
I don't know why. What's wrong with Steve?
Well, it's just weird having someone linger over.
Well, if Bill's not coaching anymore, that's a different scenario.
That's what I'm saying.
If Bill goes somewhere next year, then the
that's weird.
Belichick kid's staying here. That's weird.
Yeah.
I agree. But if he's not coaching and he decides, all right, it's probably
hang him up.
Had a good run. It's a good time to hang it up.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he hung it up.
I would too.
I would
think,
too.
I
but
think he still
in
wants
the
to
event
coach.
he does, I'd like to keep Steve, and then you get Bill on the phone.
Hello.
Yeah.
Again, why wouldn't you just keep him if you want?
Bill-
Like, if you're so interested in what he has
Because
to say.
he's a great game day. Remember?
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. Remember when Parcells was here and Robert at the end said the best sideline. What did he call Parcells? The best game day sideline coach in the history of the modern NFL. Remember that?
What?
Remember? It was on the field. I think it was the Pittsburgh game.
But like, can you put like the names instead of he and what?
No,
What are we talking about?
Robert talked about Parcells. And
okay, yes.
He called him the best game day
apologize.
coach in the history of the modern NFL.
Yeah, I'm usually much better. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm usually much better at speaking Fred, but
Yeah.
you are correct.
Remember that?
It was after the Jacksonville, after the
Jackson.
AFC Championship.
Yeah.
He's the greatest sideline coach in the history of the modern era.
Right.
I think
there was like 9 qualifiers.
But I think, if you want to whittle it down, who's better at devising a game plan than Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I think he's
especially on defense.
I think he's the best game planner in the history of the league.
Yeah.
I don't think is disputable.
Yeah, identifying matchups.
Even I wouldn't dispute that one.
Yeah.
Looking at the weaknesses, looking at the strengths, and figuring out how to neutralize them.
Which is so funny. He feels like he can do stuff to stop offenses, yet he doesn't want to build one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he just feels like everybody can stop it.
Because I think that David Andrews
he never really does
said it
when he
after
has
the
to.
game, and I know that this is a lot, coach speak, and a lot of coaches say this, but you have to learn how to not lose to win or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think that's how Bill approaches offense. Just
Exactly.
don't lose the game. Instead of trying to be aggressive and actually winning the game
Right.
with your offense.
Which is why I'm not really.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. Again,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's the way that Robert Kraft is thinking.
Is
but that's why I want to move on.
is there a world where Bill Belichick becomes president of football operations, and it's kind of
Here?
he stays
No.
here? It's
Isn't
a
that
title.
worse?
Well, but it's a
There's
title,
more
but
chance
he's
he
kind of
becomes
neutered.
commissioner of the PLL.
I feel
than that.
but
No, I mean, just is there?
his
I mean,
strengths are as a coach, though, right?
Totally. This is one thing we haven't talked about at all of a potential move where he kind of stays here, but he doesn't really have any direct impact anymore.
Talk about
God.
You mean
upsetting the
just like
masses.
president emeritus type thing? Or
Oh,
like,
God.
yeah.
That would
I don't
be
see the
terrible.
point.
No?
No, there's
Even
no
the
point.
biggest Belichick fans would say that he struggles in the draft lately.
But he's just the president of
So
football.
you're
The
keeping
GM
him
will
to be
handle-
in charge of
Well,
the organization.
I didn't say that.
No.
He'll be
I don't
the Hall of Fame archivist. I mean, what is
What's
he
he doing?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
I don't know, guys.
Back to
This-
Capella.
Now, if he's coaching,
See, this
and-
is like rubbed everybody so wrong that I'm like, this could be what it is. This is going to be the
No.
thing that makes no one happy.
What if he becomes Gerard Mayo's Ernie Adams,
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
director of research?
Oh my God!
No, he's not going to do it.
And
We're only
football
kidding.
history.
We're only kidding.
It's like they roll them out on Fridays just to give a little history
Dallas
lesson.
Clark.
See, you can't kid with me like that because it just gets
Evan,
me
Evan
worked
starts
up.
getting really nervous.
No,
you know.
where's this coming from now?
All right, let's get back to the phone.
Strange days indeed.
Kendall's in North Carolina. What's up, Kendall?
What's going on, guys? How y'all guys doing?
All right.
Hey, Kendall.
That's good. I got one quick question. I just became a fan of the show this year, so I'm not familiar with
Where
y'all.
you been?
Sorry.
I've been in and out, man.
All right.
But I'm not familiar with y'all all-season schedule. So will this be the last week of Unfiltered until training camp, or or do y'all go year-round?
Oh, no. Once the season's over, we go twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon.
Yep.
Okay, so y'all cover the combine, free agency.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
You stay with us. We will
We'll
be
be here
covering
for all of it.
every step of the
I'll be
way.
at the combine.
Oh.
I'll be at the combine.
Oh, come say hi.
Are you working out?
Matt, sir?
Are you? I was joking. Sorry.
Have you been invited? Are you working out?
No, I have my own podcast and whatnot, and I'm
Nice.
credentialed with the media, so I get to go to the combine
Nice.
year-round.
Yeah, we'll be there. I mean, every step of the way.
Mike and Evan
will be
will
there.
Come
more
say
than
hi.
more
Yeah.
than likely be
Oh.
there, right?
Yep.
We will be there.
We better be there.
Yep.
I don't know.
Shrine Bowl,
I
Senior
don't know
Bowl,
who's definitive.
Combine,
I'm not
Draft,
involved in all your little meetings. Thank
Pro
God.
Days.
We were talking about it again this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe
Thank
I
God.
get with you guys,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
No problem.
Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah, Paul, we signed you up for the pro day at Washington.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna go
Michael
out.
Penix's
You're
pro
gonna,
day.
You're gonna
would
go
do
out
that.
to Washington and watch
I-
Michael Penix. Yeah.
I would do that.
Michael Penix apparently going to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if he will if they win the Natty, but
I can see Paul going up to him. Listen, I played quarterback at Everett. I'm a lefty. So I just want to go over.
I get you. I
Yeah.
get you.
Did Do you feel disrespected? Like I
A
always
little bit, just a little bit.
It wasn't my ACL, it was my Achilles. But, same
In
kind
all
of area of the body.
seriousness, though, if they do draft Michael Penix, one of the most fun things about that for me is, okay, now we have to flip everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to bootleg, now you're bootlegging the other direction. Or if you're going to, like...
Does the view for all 22 change? Do you put the camera on the other side
Yeah,
of the field?
the whole thing is backwards. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you talk about the passing strength is usually to the quarterback's arm side of the play, right?
Right.
So now you got to flip everything.
So we need a
Do you
right
need to-
tackle,
do you
not a
need to
left
get a
tackle.
backup who's also a lefty, or do you?
That's a good question, Fred. I don't know. We'll have to ask.
All right.
Ben
Tebow.
Johnson,
Tebow time.
whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Just willing it into existence.
Bobby Slowick.
Can I just say one thing, though? Like, every little bit, and there's only been a handful, but every little bit that you've heard about Ben Johnson is that he's a big a-hole. And, like, it's just
Love
funny,
that.
like, we got to get another. This is what we're going to get. Great.
For those of us that are not familiar with anything other than the fact that he yelled at somebody in a middle school play, what else is
he
he?
wants to have a lot of money, getting out there that he's
like
wants
10
what,
million a
10
year?
million plus,
15.
15 million plus.
Okay. Anything else?
Those
Every
two. I
penny.
just said there were only a few. But
That's not. I mean,
but those are
I do
things.
too.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I
do
don't.
you make it known?
Yeah, I would make my salary if I was like a commodity on the open market. I would make it known
Right
what I
away.
was looking for.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Sounds like we got a Ben Johnson fan
sounds
over
like
here.
it's
an
another-
apologist.
Absolutely.
Huge
How much-
Ben
I don't know if you've been listening all year.
How much do you think Bieniemy is?
Gonna make?
Like, yeah. How much do you think he wants?
Oh, I don't know. But I'd be interested in Bieniemy.
I'd be interested in being.
I think like we're gonna do this on Catch 22 eventually. Like pairing these quarterbacks with certain offensive minds, I think, is going to be part of the consideration. If they're really, really in love with Drake May, then Ben Johnson is like, get him on the phone tomorrow, right? Like that's the perfect pairing for that. But if you really want to try to go after Caleb Williams, then I would hire Bieniemy. Like that would be.
I would hire Bieniemy, but he's got to get a different hat, like the woolen hat that's tilted like that. Wear a hood or something. That's not a good
When
look.
did Fred become the fashion police?
I've always been.
Yeah.
Check it.
Ask Paul. Ask Paul. I've always been the fashion.
But
Critiques me often.
but to that point of getting these people on the phone, I feel like that's why the decision, if you're going to keep Bill or not keep Bill, has to be made quick because you don't want to miss out on
of
either
course.
one of those people.
Yeah, it's got to be fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you don't want the fans just clamoring for the next 3 weeks.
No.
What's going to happen?
You
What's
gotta
gonna
Well, you
happen.
also have to mention though that they changed the rule this year, so you can't do interviews with teams that are still alive until the divisional round of the playoffs now.
Yep.
It used to be wild card weekend, so they pushed it back a week. So guys like Ben Johnson, assuming that the Lions advance out of the wild card round, you'd have to wait to interview guys
But
like
Bieniemy,
that.
you could call like
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yep.
It's true.
You want Bieniemy?
I'm just saying, he's available right now.
Sean's in Virginia. What's up, Sean?
Hello, guys. How's it going?
All right.
Yes, I basically wanted to touch on some things as far as about improving the team. Like I think it was interesting what one of you guys said Sunday about mortgaging some picks, and they might have to do that in order to get the offense to where it needs to be. Because I'm looking at that, perhaps if they actually got a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. Then I'm looking at the fact they may probably could target T. Higgins in free agency and some of these other guys. And then I hear also kind of about them losing defensive players, but just like I was hearing Mr. Man talk, I wouldn't touch the defense side of the ball because, like I said, I think they can plug in anybody on that side of the ball and be good. But I would just fixate on the offense somewhere that they struggle at, which is evaluating talent offensively.
Yeah.
Receivers and six.
So when you
That's the side we're focused on.
When you say you can plug in anybody on the defensive side of the ball and they'll be good, why do you say that?
Because they're so good schematically. They're so good at coaching up that side of the ball, but I feel like they can just throw anybody on that side of the ball.
But what if the coaches are gone?
That's my point. Like I said, if they can somehow manage to keep the coaches,
Okay.
'cause that side of the ball is not the problem. Like Fix was not broken.
Right.
Like I would stay fixated on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
I would try to do whatever I need to do to make sure that side of the ball gets corrected.
I don't think anyone disagrees with that, And in terms of mortgaging the future, I mean, if it takes giving up future draft picks to get people you want now, I say do it because, there's no guarantee that in the future you're going to get them. If there's people that are there now that you want, go get them.
Right.
Go get him.
I'm not with that.
But there's no guarantee we're going to be able to address it next year. So if you see things that can address it now, address it.
I keep saying the same thing. I wouldn't be the Carolina Panthers. I wouldn't be in a situation where...
Yeah, but you can do it right and do it that way.
I suppose.
You don't have to take Bryce Young.
Well, I mean, I can't really get on them for taking Bryce Young because he's a great prospect coming out.
Okay, so you thought he was going to be really good.
I think
so
everybody...
you're not a good scout.
I think everybody thought he was going to be really good, Fred.
No, not everybody did.
Yeah, I mean, he's the number one pick in the draft.
I don't know anybody who was on the record as something.
Okay,
It doesn't mean that didn't happen.
He had concerns like every other prospect.
Okay,
so
you pick a quarterback this year, it doesn't work out. So waiting a year is going to make a difference?
No, I'm just not giving up a king's ransom to pick one player. I'm just not doing it.
If you really think the guy is the guy, go get him. Go get him because he's not going to be there next year.
I just think it's great to have that kind of conviction. The amount of times that kind of conviction actually works out is another story.
I need the parameters. Like, it's one thing to say, I need the king's ransom, but what is the king's ransom?
Yeah, you're giving up Mike Ditka, the Saints thing.
Well, I'd be more apt to do that than, like, the 2 1s, 2 2s and stuff that it really takes to do that stuff.
Right, if you're...
Also, guy, I wanted to play one more thing. Like for example, we just saw the Bills game. We just saw the Bills game, right?
Yep.
The reason why those guys are able to play as aggressive as they were playing because they realize that there's nobody on that offense that scares them. I mean, most teams can do that because, if you actually look at it, the way they're playing defensively, I don't think they play like that against the Bengals with Jamar Chase and those guys over there. I don't think they play against Miami like that.
I kind of think they do what they do on defense and play a lot of zone.
New England, the way they play them because there's nobody on offense that scares them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that they've had a lot of teams that have locked down on them defensively this year.
Yep.
No question about it.
They play up. They don't worry about anything. Yep. All right, thanks, Sean. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Robert in Tennessee. What's up, Robert?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Okay.
I got a couple of questions. One is I never hear any negative stuff from y'all about the Belichick boys, about the Belichick sons. Can you kind of give me an idea what the league feels about them? Can you give me just like an idea? Are they good coaches? Do they do a good job?
I
know
can't.
That Mayo,
no idea.
I can't. I can't give you an idea because I don't know.
I don't know what the league thinks.
And we've said it before, like if Steve wants to really make a name for himself, he has to get out from under his dad and kind of do it on his own because right now on this team, nobody has the title of defensive coordinator, Gerard or Steve, and so you don't know who's really doing what in this defense. Is it still Bill? I don't know. The only thing we know for a fact is that Steve calls the plays on the sideline. And we know that.
And that's got holes in both of Gerard and Steve's resume where you don't know if Steve can get up, command a room, present a game plan, and you don't know if Gerard can call a game and, those kind of things.
And that's
it's just parts of their experience
Robert,
lacking.
we talked about it at the top of the show, and I speculated that maybe the reason why some guys after the Bills game were calling out Gerard, and I think at least one called out Steve, is to give them some props. Because, you really don't know what they're doing all year. And maybe they decided, hey, let's mention these guys because they've been doing a great job. And, they don't really get mentioned, after games.
Yeah.
So maybe, that was just my speculation.
Yeah, I think, just talking to the players about those two, Gerard is considered to be almost like a big brother to most of the players in the locker room. Really a player's coach. Go ahead.
He's got a lot of energy and charismatic and things like that. I just never, y'all never do trash him, but that seems to be very popular of like, can we get a coach in here and not just have his sons do it? But I don't think they're doing, I can't really tell what they're doing, but they don't seem like they're doing a horrible job.
No, I think I agree. I think they're doing, collectively, they're doing a good job.
I mean, I would also say that, like, Evan watches the film and he breaks down the games, and I quite often, you said it twice today, I've heard you be critical of the play calling, and that's Steve.
Yeah, I think
on defense, the defensive play calling.
Steve is a good play caller for the most part. I think he falls into two traps. One, he gets a little bit too aggressive when he doesn't need to be aggressive. Like calling cover 0, I'm sorry, but it's 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 36-yard line. They haven't driven the ball on your defense all day long, and you call an all-out blitz with all this space for Kyle Duggar to cover Dalton Kincaid, and he gets beat for a 51-yard catch. Like, is that? Yeah, could Kyle Duggar have covered the play a little bit better?
Or could they have gotten there?
Or could they have gotten there? Sure. But I hated the call.
Yeah.
The third down play on the final drive of the game for Buffalo, they're playing man-to-man on third down the entire game. So on that down, he called cover 2. And they're the middle of the field wide open for Khalil Shakir to just catch like a little dump off from Josh Allen.
That play bugged me because I just would have thought, like, okay, I've watched a lot of Buffalo. This is where the only way Buffalo's getting this is if Josh Allen does a Superman and breaks 3 tackles and gets the first down. And to have him just get the snap and as easily as that, throw an easy pass that anybody could have completed was like eye-opening. Especially on a day where I felt like the Patriots defense played pretty well. I just thought situationally they really let them down.
To Buffalo's credit, they had the perfect play call on for the zone that the Patriots played. They had, Kincaid run through the chute and clear out the middle of the field, and then Shakir just filled it in underneath, and it was just wide open. But they kind of disguised it in the back end and made it look like man pre-snap, and then they fell into cover 2 post-snap, and I think that was one play where he probably just outfoxed himself. He was trying to outfox Josh Allen and give him a different look.
And maybe that's, maybe unfair because on a day where I think he more often than not outfoxed the Bills.
Yeah.
Every once
What
in a while.
about Brian Belichick?
That's another one. He was hurt. He sounds like a player.
He missed. He started on PUP.
Yeah, he missed like the first, 5 or 6 games because he did have an accident in the offseason where he couldn't be here. But I've always looked at him as a smart kid. I remember seeing him when he was just a little kid walking around with a clipboard, following his dad around, taking notes. Like he grew up at his father's knee, and I got to imagine some of that rubbed off on him. I'll bet you he's got a future too.
On game day, he's up in the coach's box.
Thanks, Robert.
And he's charting the plays, and then he radios down to Steve and talks to Steve about how the game is declaring, right? Like, this is what they're trying to do to us. These are the plays that we can see from the bird's eye view a little bit better than maybe you can see on the sideline. So I would say Brian is a really, like, detail-oriented guy. Like, he's got that from his dad where, like, he can see formations and concepts and, like, be able to script those and write those down. Whereas I think Steve is a pretty good, like, broad, big picture X's and O's type of guy, which is why I think he's a pretty good play caller.
Take him as a package.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if they were on the offensive side of the ball, I think you might get more of what the caller's looking for. But it's like, how do you rail on them?
Hard.
I mean, play call, sure, but
I don't think he was railing on. I think
but
he was
saying you
wondering.
guys never rail on them, and
no, he's saying we never criticize them. What exactly did they do?
Well,
but we don't criticize anybody on offense either.
Well, no, we
and
do.
I think they're having a miserable year.
No, we criticize people on offense. Are you kidding
Troy
me?
Brown?
Okay, I'll just speak for myself
mean
then.
coaches?
I don't.
No, but like
no, I'm talking about the coaches.
The offensive line, and
Yeah, I don't know what they do. Like, I don't know if Billy Yates is any good. I don't.
The evidence suggests it.
Yeah,
but that's what you judge
but
off of,
I think you can look and easily fall into the trap of, the wide receiver coach from Minnesota must be really good because Justin Jefferson is like the greatest wide receiver I've ever seen. I don't know if he's any good.
Yeah.
Just like the Patriots wide receivers are not very good. Is that because Troy Brown stinks? I don't know.
No, but I would say, like, the defense has been generally pretty good, and we have definitely talked about Troy Brown and the issues of the coaching of the offensive line, and with Vinny Cincinnati, and I mean those things have come up. Not to say that they get put in the crosshairs, but the defense has been pretty good. The safeties have been pretty good. The
special teams, you are correct. I have been very. You are right. When I'm wrong, I have to say I'm wrong. You are right. I have criticized Joe Judge.
To have multiple people coaching special teams and they still be this bad is not good.
Changes.
They, I ask a lot of questions about the coaching staff because I think that there's so little information that Bill puts out about what these guys do, and the roles and responsibilities are so blurred. And anytime you ever ask him about it, it's like, well, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. Everybody
did that today
plays a role, yada, yada, yada.
EI.
So it makes it difficult. And I just think, guys that have strengths, obviously, and, on the defensive side of the ball, I would say, Mayo, Covington, Pellegrino, those guys are really good at coaching technique, coaching, put your hand here instead of there, and it's going to be, that sort of thing. And then you have like kind of the big picture guys like Steve who are more of like seeing the forest. And I think that everybody does have an individual role in that respect. And Gerard is really good at watching film and seeing like, all right, this guy likes to do this type of thing or that type of thing because he played, so he can look at it and see where guys look uncomfortable versus not. So I think that that's why it works in a lot of ways on that side of the ball is because everybody has their strengths. Steve's not really as much of like a rah get up in front of the room type of guy, but Gerard is somebody that can carry your room and can demand attention. So it ends up working out.
Ryan in Connecticut, I got to shake hands with Paul this Friday night.
You remember that, Paulie?
I was a little starstruck, to say the least. I had to explain to my girlfriend that Paul is the one on the radio who likes to argue and drink Diet Pepsi all the time.
Damn.
Wait, so was this on the Christmas trolley?
It was on the trolley,
oh, wow.
absolutely.
Oh, wow.
I think it was off the trolley at the time, but yeah.
Oh, I thought you were doing an appearance.
Oh, no.
Oh, a meet and greet.
This was what led to my
I know.
my infamous tweet at 1:24 a.m.
Yeah. With one more regular season game to go, do you have any opinions on what will happen with DeMarcus Covington? With Mayo ahead of Covington in the pecking order, it would seem like his path to defensive coordinator could be blocked in New England. He made it as an honorable mention in Pelissero's article about future NFL head coaches back in November.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about him. I'm not sure. I mean, he might be the right guy that's kind of out of the crosshairs a little bit, but I think he's a really talented coach. I guess my only concern with him would just be, certainly he's coached the defensive line. He understands the front, but so much goes into the secondary and coordinating that, and I think that's a really big piece of the puzzle with the next
I think it all depends on what happens. I think it's I know it sounds like a cop-out, but when you don't know exactly who the next coach is going to be, like if Bill's here, you could definitely see him maybe trying to get himself out there in defensive coordinator interviews. But if Bill leaves, he might have an opportunity to stay here as defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And if not, then definitely he's going to be on the circuit for defensive coordinator openings because they're always, everybody fixates on the head coach openings. There'll be openings with the coordinators as well.
Yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit, though, because the defensive line has been by far the best position group on the team.
The run defense is, without question, the best part of the defense.
And those guys are developing. Like, Christian Barmore has taken a huge leap. I think Keon White's getting better here later in the year. Anthony Jennings has stepped right in, and that's one of his guys, as he told me that I didn't know anything, and then Anthony Jennings meets with him. Those guys, all of those guys have played above expectation.
I need to hear that story.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
So I'm looking for a little inside information. We're all talking about Bill and whether or not he might come back or not.
We're not allowed to share.
And we don't really know. But, Paul, you might have some inside information. What's the deal with Hardy? Is he coming back next year with us?
To be determined.
Oh. So do you
He
know?
has not No.
Okay.
He hasn't completely shut the door, and he would very much be interested in like, he got mad, because Mike and I was sort of, wishing him well, and he's like, whoa, wait. I said, well, you know that Fred told you have this job for life if you want it.
I did.
And he's like, well, you know how he likes to work. Like, well, Fred hasn't said anything to me.
Maybe we see how many night games there are.
So my guess is we will be looking for a new host because it's going to be too much to.
Well, that was my assumption, but I don't want to assume.
I've had some thoughts that I can share with you off air.
Okay. All right.
I have a king that I could be making as usual.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I just thought I'd close that off for people to think about.
It's another big thing for the weekend, though, Fred.
It's
is just the last show of Hardy.
Some say it's the biggest last of all. At Gillette Stadium on
This
Sunday.
will be known as the Hardy game.
Oh, my heart.
This might be the Slater game.
Could be the Slater game, too.
David Andrews,
talk about that.
Slater.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You guys talk to David Andrews. It seems like everybody's got
I don't
David
know.
Andrews.
I heard he was mulling it over last year.
You might know a little something, you guys.
No.
You're afraid to share with the rest of the class.
He just looks so exhausted from this season. Like I just wonder at a certain point, and I don't know as a professional athlete, you put it on the line every week, and so much goes into it. Is at what point do you just say, you know what?
At Holy Cross.
That's right. High level. Yeah. But it was funny just even seeing him and Bergeron talk and how they were, Bergeron, he's like, you stay here this long. Like Bergeron couldn't believe the hours of a football team, and it's a lot. And he's won championships, and he's gotten beat up, and he's got a young family, and I don't know. I just it wouldn't surprise me that he doesn't want to stick around for a whole new thing.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. More calls and emails. Catch 22. We'll talk to you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.